Good night, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Water for the Thirsty, the word simply, the word refreshing. I'm the facilitator of the conversation. My name is Jared. With us tonight is Jerry from far away, Courtney from down the street, and Kendrick from even further away. Good to see
Far
you.
away is far away, man.
Yeah, but he a little bit further than you. I could get to Jerry. If I leave here at 2 o'clock, I could get to Jerry by 6. You are
you're not getting. Yeah.
Longer than that.
Yeah. 10, 12
It's
hours.
it's unfortunate Jerry was close and didn't say hi, but it's okay. We're not gonna talk. We're not gonna have that conversation right now. It's cool.
After show.
No. It's cool. We're never having that conversation.
Bro,
I hope the trip was good, brother.
It was good.
Good.
Work, but good. Yeah.
All right. Anybody got anything coming out of the reading since the last time we got together? We've been in Deuteronomy. Moses was saying his goodbyes and leaving his final instructions. Matthew, we coming up on the good stuff in Matthew, the Good Friday stuff. We're about to hit that today, tomorrow, and then we've been listening to the love songs. The love songs.
The R&B.
The R&B playlist. We've been getting into that.
Right.
Yeah, but we've been doing that for a while. So,
see, I think I had. From today's reading from Matthew was with the the first section with the parables of the 10 virgins.
mhm.
I think for me, this is the first time that I didn't realize that the sleep of the virgins was like they went to sleep like death. Like I didn't realize it like that.
They did?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that either. I thought they went to sleep.
I think they went to sleep, but didn't. You said death?
Yeah, like when we all pass
So
away, so when the bridegroom comes is like literally the second coming, like when we wake.
Okay,
Like,
you're talking about that parallel. Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
This,
yeah, okay.
okay.
Yeah, in
So
terms
you're
of
saying
meaning
equates
making.
to death.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I never thought about it from that.
I never made that connection either, but I can see it. They all died. Okay. I can see that.
Because as I was thinking, I
said-
was like, well, why did if the foolish ones, why did the other ones?
Hold on, time out.
They all fell asleep.
Time out. Does it say they died?
No, it doesn't. It says they fell asleep.
Okay. It just says they fell asleep.
Yeah, we are meaning making out of there. We are symbolizing the sleep and
Okay.
doing the application for later, because the parable speaks to the later time. It would make sense that you could read
Understood.
that as sleep. In the parable,
Okay.
they literally just fell asleep.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I never read that into it.
It's like, doesn't say that they died. No, it does not say that they died. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My thought is, did the foolish ones really think they would find somebody to buy oil from at
100%.
Yep.
when they
They're
left
foolish.
to
They're
go?
foolish, dog. Like you can't.
When they left, they didn't even just say, "You come inside." We ran out of oil. Sorry, they
Yeah.
really left and thought they would get oil and come back. How long did it take them, and what time did they come back?
But they're literally fools. Like I don't know. Like it's like you
Midnight.
expect a lot from them.
It's not like they go in by somebody's house and say, "Hey, I have
Yeah,
some
but-
hope." They went trying to buy oil
I
at
know.
midnight.
But isn't
Yeah,
that
but it's a different society then.
But
Right?
who's selling you oil at midnight?
People probably sold out their home. People it's not the same. Like nobody had a tienda. Like there's no store, right? That they were going to. There's not Walmart. There's not Target. There's not any like people probably sold a lot of their stuff out their home.
So you go by the oil
Right?
man. You run to the oil man and wait.
Yeah, absolutely. You got the blacksmith. You got the oil man. You got the the dude that sold weed. You got the dude that sold like real herbs.
Wow.
No.
Hashish. Sold hashish, okay?
You got everybody that does their own thing.
Wow, buddy.
So I can see that. That makes sense to me.
I guess and if how far across town did the oil man live?
Well, that's another conversation. I don't know.
I have a similar but different spin on it. I think yes, part of it is the societal context, but part of it is also that's the hubris of sin. It's like I got this. I mean,
Facts.
all of us are like, everybody else will do this one thing and suffer the consequence. I'll be the first and only person who will do it and not. So
it was 5 of them. It was half of them.
Correct. Yeah.
Right, but where did it start, right? So
No.
it's like I like to use the example of the angels, right? How do you convince a third of the angels that a God who knows everything before it happens, you're gonna surprise him? And he'd be like, Lucifer's probably like, I am the one person who could sneak
It's
up
hubris.
on an attack.
You said it's hubris.
Yeah.
You said it. Yeah.
And I feel like here's what happens. The longer mercy and grace is extended, is the more we begin to think that, okay, maybe God is either co-signing what we're doing, or somehow, again, we like Neo, we the special one in the Matrix, and all the crap that happens to everybody else ain't gonna happen to us. We will just find a way. We'll find somebody who has oil at 2 a.m, 1 a.m, whatever it was.
Yeah,
I think that's factual.
Jay, I get that from our hubris. I don't get that from the story. I don't get from the story that those people was, looking the gift horse of grace and mercy in the mouth and shunning it. I think they failed to prepare for the likelihood that the grooms would be late. Like, who expects a bridegroom for a wedding to come so late? Nobody is expecting that.
Right, but isn't
And
that
the
the
bride-
hubris there? Because he's saying be ready, full stop. And so you think you have time and you think you can prepare, and then
Fair enough application. But let's just go with the story, because the story reveals, one group was like, I will prepare just in case, right? So they were wise because they were like, who knows? It's better to have and not need than to need and not have. The others were like, that's not even a realistic possibility. When you think about a wedding, who man gonna come? I mean, first of all, since when men just come late to the wedding? Now I know there's a whole different culture, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't compare.
Culture,
it's not the same.
and the man is the feature thing in this society, right?
Right.
Correct.
But midnight, where you coming from?
Yo, even if it wasn't our culture, right? If the bride shows up at midnight, ain't nobody there. The husband might have absconded with one of the
First of all, forget the bride.
The cultural reference doesn't.
Where the rest of the bridal party? All of them people just sit there and wait this whole time, and only the 5 virgins with the oil was lacking.
Yeah,
people didn't leave and go home. Like,
so well culturally, so even when we're having the conversation, I think it was Matthew 21, 22, whatever it was, when it was talking about the Lord that was having the feast, right? The expectation was whenever that Bama was ready, Bama being Lord respectively.
Yes.
Whenever he was ready, you were supposed to show up. Not like doesn't matter whatever you had going on and all that. So I think culturally there's something different that exists. Like that's very difficult for us to understand, because the reality is, like, on the surface, I can't even be mad. Like, I don't even know. You told me there's going to be a feast. You didn't tell me when. And then all of a sudden the food's ready, and now I got to show up and drop everything I have in order to show up. That's a little bit, on the surface, that's unreasonable, right? Because I don't know when you said. You didn't give me a time. And so I think the same thing with the 10 virgins, right? They didn't know when it was going to happen.
Midnight. That's disrespectful. You don't think?
No, I don't disagree. That's my point. Like
all of
a sudden now you're ready
at midnight.
You told me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I saw it
There must
different.
be some kind of cultural norm here that we missing. Go ahead, Cliff. Good to see you, brother.
Same. I'm always having these internet issues for some reason right now, so I'm hoping it holds out. No, I saw it differently. I saw it as the party. I saw it as the party starting in Arlington, Virginia, and then working its way to DC. And you were on the side. We were partying on our way to DC. And hey, when the caravan hits you, you should be ready because by the time we get there, there's gonna be a road. That's kind of the way I
go
saw
drink
it.
out all the drinks in the bar before I reach because then the bar will bust.
There you
I
go.
understand. I understand.
Yeah,
But
that's
why
80s.
why these people wasn't
That's
at the
80s. That's
first
80s
party?
DC. That's
Why
80s
why
DC.
the bridesmaids weren't at the first party?
You said what?
Why the bridesmaids weren't at the first party? Unless the groom parties by himself with his groomsmen and then brings the party to the bride, and that party went a little bit over. Unless that's what you're saying.
Could be. That makes sense.
A two-part party.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm saying it started in Arlington and it moved and it gained momentum. And the word was the bridegroom is coming, be ready. Don't know what time he's gonna hit your part of the trail, but when he hits your part of the trail, he's not coming back.
All right, that makes more sense. If he's
Everybody's
on up.
That's just
if
me.
you are stuck on the
just
way,
the way
then yes, you had to be ready because he might get delayed. The party might get turned up, all them kind of things. Yeah, I could.
Like in some cultures, the wedding takes like 3 days, right? Or even 5, depending.
Correct. Yeah.
It's like we're not sure if he'll come today at midnight tomorrow, but be ready, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
which is why I guess the first 5 who were thinking, look, best I have and not need. I like how you put that.
Fair enough, because so from my standpoint, my cultural standpoint, that's a little bit unreasonable. But if they understand the nature of the culture and still didn't prepare,
correct,
then that would make more sense. And maybe that's
and I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think he's talking to people who understand the culture, and there was something there in the culture that they understood that it didn't matter. Like the bridegroom, like if you were invited, or if you're a responsible person in the party, like you were responsible for having your lamps trimmed and burning, or at the very least, oil ready to trim and burn.
Mm-hmm. They should have been seasoned bridesmaids. They would have gone to plenty weddings before. They know the drill and they know, don't get caught slipping.
Don't get caught slipping. Yep.
Yeah, they got caught slipping. Okay. Like the guy. So the guy with the wedding clothes makes more sense now. He understood the culture. He understood you don't come to the wedding and not have your wedding clothes. Like
you read that in the Amplified. I was reading that this week or last week, whatever it was, and in the Amplified, it actually brings it out because reading. I guess I was reading the NLT. I'm pulling it up now. Was that 22? 21?
25.
I don't know. 25?
Yeah, Matthew 25.
Verse what?
From this beginning, it's verse 1 through 13. But the guy with the
no, not the 10 versions. I'm talking about the feast.
Oh,
the one, the feast.
That was a different wedding. Okay. I thought it was
Well, it wasn't a wedding, it was a feast, but what I realized in the Amplified, what it did was it was like, so the guy that didn't have the clothes, like the guy comes in and was like, yo, what, you don't have the proper clothes. And what it speaks to is that in Amplified, it talks about like there was an expectation that I gave him clothes. You were supposed to wear the stuff I gave you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. And so there's an expectation, and I'm only circling back to kind of the conversation that we're having a little bit here. Is like culturally, there were things that people knew, right, that we can't identify with based upon where we are in history and culture and all that kind of stuff. But these individuals knew, what he meant when he was telling these stories. They understood it. It was clear. There was an expectation that you were supposed to do this, do this, do this, in those particular situations. And if you fail to do that,
Yep.
then that reflected on your both willingness, readiness, and
Level of respect.
And respect. Correct.
22.
Is it 22?
22, 1 through 14. Where you talking
So I
about
think
it was
it's
11.
12. 12. Yeah,
11
so
and 12.
go 11 and 12. But when the king came in to see the dinner guests, he saw a man there who was not dressed. And the Amplified says appropriately in wedding clothes. He said, "Friend, how did you come in here without wearing the wedding clothes that were provided for you?"
Mm-hmm.
And the man was speechless without excuse.
Got you.
It was not just you didn't show up, because I think it's easy to be like, yo, what's the expectation? Like you came into the streets and got me. No, dog, I actually gave you gear. And you did, and then you put it on.
That's disrespectful.
It's disrespectful.
That would be
Which is
disrespectful.
why he can then justify and say, tie him hand and foot and throw him out into the darkness outside, right? Because you disrespected me. I gave you everything that you needed. I knew that you didn't have. And so I think there's an expectation culturally that he's speaking to when he's talking to these individuals and using these parables.
No, you're right.
Oh, nice. I guess I'm just listening to Kenrick. It seems like that negligence. I can look at it on both those parables, and it seems like it was nothing required. Was it
Provided.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, and it wasn't like extraordinary, like especially difficult. All it just required was just like attention, or
regard.
Some regard.
Regard.
Yep.
Just required some regard. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like Red and Friday when he's sitting on the porch and Debo comes up and is like, everybody sitting up there. He's like, I'm just gonna button mine up. And he was like, he took his shade. Like it was like, and he took his bite. Like there was an expectation. Like you didn't actually have to go through that process, right? You didn't have to go through it. So anyway, whatever. I thought of Friday when I saw it. Whatever.
Imagine if Jesus was telling this story now and he used that example. The kingdom of heaven is like Friday movie.
I'm just gonna button mine up.
Yeah. Yep. People would relate though. Especially certain people.
That's my chain,
right? You can't see it, right?
Certain people would relate really well. I'm sure.
You know what I didn't realize as we on this, a couple of those stories, he says the kingdom of heaven at that time will be like. And so he's giving you snapshots of the kingdom of heaven during different periods. And the kingdom of heaven doesn't appear to be a perfect place where everything is, utopic. It's a place in transition. It's a dynamic a realm in transition where you have enemies planting things in the garden, in the field. You have, bad fish being caught up in the net. You have foolish virgins. You have, disrespectful guests, all in this kingdom of heaven. And so, it kind of reshapes and reframes your understanding of what this whole kingdom of heaven actually is. To know that when he says the kingdom of heaven is like a fisherman who casts out his net and pulls up bad fish and good fish in the kingdom of heaven, really? How is that possible?
So yeah, I actually never.
Well, is that the
never
kingdom itself, or just the caliber of people who show up in the kingdom?
Well, let's go back and see. Let's go and
So
look at these
I think I'm
stories.
more where Jerry is on that.
Look at this, chapter 25, verse 1. Here is what the kingdom of heaven will be like at that time. And then it goes on to the story. Right? And he tells the people. So that's what it'll be like. So you're going to have those people in that. The three slaves. Again, here's what the kingdom of heaven will be like.
Yeah.
So hold on. So I've always thought of the kingdom of heaven as a kingdom where people have pledged citizenship.
Right.
So if I pledge my citizenship to you, I can't be part of the kingdom if I no longer do the things that allow me to have citizenship.
That might be a reframing that needs to happen. So the word kingdom there is a bad word in English. It's a good word, but not the best word. Let me say it's not a bad word. It's not the best word. From what I understand, that basilia word would be more accurately captured as the reign of heaven as opposed to the kingdom of heaven. It's the
What's the
space,
difference?
it's the authority of God in this space, whether people subscribe to it or not.
Okay.
It's the territory over which he rules and
So
where
I'm looking at it like the United States, right? And if you obey
it's
the rules,
it's the kingdom of heaven is the place over which the president presides, not the United States physically. So the place over which the president resides also includes Puerto Rico and Alaska and Hawaii,
sovereign reign.
sovereign reign over these territories. But
Okay.
some of these territories are in rebellion currently.
Okay. Okay.
So the
Okay.
kingdom of heaven is experiencing this rebellion that he is presiding over. This is his territory. These are his citizens, but not everybody in there is, is loyal to him.
Understood.
Isn't that how it is now, though?
Yes, that's what makes the kingdom of heaven significant. It's been like that for a while and will be like this at a certain time and like this in a certain time so that you understand what it really is. It's not the utopic place that we're going to. It will eventually become that,
Right.
right? And that's heaven and earth, right? Because it's the kingdom of heaven that has jurisdiction over earth.
Right.
Like the
So then
rain against earth.
that speaks to these what do we want to call them? All these zealots who say, well, kingdom looks like this, so if you don't look like this, come from this country, whatever the case is, you can't be part of the kingdom, right?
Right. And that's where the whole, he becomes Lord of the Heart, is that where the people are. It's almost like that Thor movie. Asgard is where the people are,
Right.
not Asgard itself. Once the people from Asgard exist, that's where Asgard is. That's the dynamic of the kingdom of heaven. God now is the wherever these people are loyal to him, that's all that is the extent of the kingdom of heaven. So it's not as much a physical place more than it is the authority of God over the subjects of this place wherever they are.
Gotcha.
And purging out of the society all the people who are not loyal to the kingdom of heaven. So now that then says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. That changes the whole dynamic of that idea, right?
And his righteousness, so that the kingdom, I guess, could become more like what it
First,
should
the
be. We're all seeking after his righteousness, right?
So it's almost like seek ye first the reign of heaven
Does
in
make sense.
your experience.
which
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's perfection, because there's other things going on in that kingdom.
Correct. And that's why it says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you, because once you become subject to him, he'll give you directions on how to move.
100%. I like that.
Or he'll provide what is needed.
Like the
Prisons
like the right
exist in the
clothes for the
kingdom.
wedding or the whatever, right? The feast.
Say again. Yes, Jerry. Say again, Kendrick.
Prisons exist in kingdoms,
Yes.
meaning that
Kingdoms
there's
where
people that
have choice.
the people that violate the rules of kingdoms.
Correct.
They're still in the kingdom.
Yes.
So it's not like the kingdom is the perfection, and like
No.
the utopia, as you said, is that there is made up of all kinds of different people and ideas and thoughts. Some violate, those that violate, although they violate, they still are in the kingdom.
Correct.
Okay.
For a while.
Which then, what are kingdom builders? But that's fine. We'll have another conversation about that.
Kingdom builders are people who are trying to help the other people who are in rebellion get out of rebellion and be in rebellion, be not in rebellion. It's almost like when we were reading about where Paul was talking about the stench and the the people who are on the way. Some of them stay in rebellion and others of them turn, and so the stench becomes a perfume when you become
Yeah. I
when
remember
you
that conversation.
decide to on the journey from where you got captured to the place, decide, hey, I'm a yield to this now. I won't be a prisoner who's executed. Now I'll be a citizen who's integrated. Right?
Which are not kingdom builders then. The kingdom already exists. All you're doing is there's just different people that live in the kingdom and operate in the kingdom, and you're trying to I don't know how you're building the kingdom. The kingdom exists.
Yeah, it's not the greatest. I would argue it's not the most reflective phrase, because I guess unless you're talking about building the kingdom by having more people in it so it builds and gets bigger, unless you're defining build that way.
But even the build, well, whatever. We're not gonna. It's fine.
Hey, Lorraine, I just wanted to say publicly, I am very, very proud of you. Once you started speaking, you got really, really comfortable, and I felt like I was in you were just telling me about your reading in Water for the Thirsty, but with some.
Oh, there's no. I thought there was a
Yes,
reverend. There's no Reverend Lorraine on there.
and so it was exciting to see you relax, and you just look like a natural. So, did you look it back and see what you said?
I know I refuse to look at it, but
And then
that's
you added.
yeah.
Then you
The
added
fact-
the
And
little
then
therapist thing on the end there, to, you know, give it a little effect. That was, kudos. I wanted to say it. I was looking at you.
Minister Lorraine.
Minister Lorraine.
We already have a bishop. We can't do a bishop.
A
So
bishop
we
and
got
a
a
minister
minister.
now. All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then the
man.
pastor's son.
They will end up with a prophet and an apostle and
Oh yeah. Oh, baby prophet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Courtney, thank you for that. Lauren, did you have anything for us there?
No, not this week. Mm-mm.
All right. Can we you?
I was actually mentioning something earlier. I gotta find it again. But go ahead. You can come back. Don't. Let me find it.
All right, Cliff, how about you?
Not for the online viewers.
Dang.
I receive it.
What's your joint rated?
Offline. My joint is rated offline after party.
Man.
Water for the thirsty after dark.
Yeah.
Uncut.
Yeah, to verify your age to get on.
Is the uncut thing. Different kind of nostalgia. All right, moving on.
Oh gosh. All right. Turn with me Deuteronomy 25.
I did. Okay.
Go ahead, Kerry.
No. Go do your Deuteronomy. We'll come back.
All right, Deuteronomy 25.
Okay.
I'm gonna read my question after we read the passage. Courtney, we're reading 17 to 19. Deuteronomy 25, 17 to 19.
Okay. All right. My bad. I felt like I was about to cough. All right. Remember what the Amalekites did to you on your way out of Egypt? You were tired and worn out. They met up with you on your journey. They attacked everyone who was lagging behind. They didn't have any respect for God. The Lord your God will give you peace and rest from all the enemies around you. He'll do this in the land he's given you to take over as your very own. No one on earth will mention the Amalekites ever again because you will destroy them. Do not forget.
So my question is, Are there any instances when it's okay to hold a grudge and not forgive? Any circumstances that warrant such a posture? How do we know how do we know what rises to that threshold? And my cross reference from this week's reading is Psalm 58:10 to 11.
Repeat the question.
I will. Psalm 58:10 to 11. Um, are there any instances when it's okay to hold a grudge and not forgive? Any circumstances that warrant such a posture? How do we know what rises to that threshold if that exists?
Oh.
Because, and I'm asking that because of how Moses frames this here, right? Remember what they did. Don't forget, don't get them a pass. Deal with that. All right. That's not a forgive, posture. And when Saul gave grace to the Agag, he was, he was chastised for that. He wasn't supposed to give grace. He wasn't supposed to give a pass. He was supposed to deal with that. And so I'm asking, are there any legitimate circumstances when it's okay to hold a grudge and not forgive? Like, because this feels like a grudge. This
I
feels
don't.
Agag doesn't feel like a grudge.
Yeah, it
well,
doesn't.
not Agag. This instruction from Moses, the way this reads. Remember what they did to you. Don't forget.
Right, but I don't think it's necessarily to them. It's the fact that they didn't fear. What does it say? They had no fear of God. I would have
Yeah,
think that's where that came from. So not so much like
absolutely.
you're holding a grudge, but like this is the consequence of you not having fear of the God of the Israelites. Like that's how I look at it. Not like you're whole harboring a grudge. It's like this is the consequence. Just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean there's not consequences.
Hmm.
At least in my mind. So I don't,
Hmm.
that's Lorraine's head
All right.
Yeah.
I kind of lean on that because or lean into that. Sowing and reaping is a natural law, right? And so this is where grace and mercy can come in to temper consequences, but God never promised or said He's obligated to remove consequences. So there's certain communities, if I wear the wrong color and I show up at the wrong time of day, I know what's gonna happen. No. Mercy might, but mercy is not obligated, and then outcome will be the outcome, right?
Does
So
forgive
then, what is the
equate?
difference between that and holding a grudge?
Does forgive equate forget?
Well, I think of it differently. I don't think forgive equals reconciliation. You can forgive, but that doesn't mean you reconcile the relationship or leave the person with access to you, although they're forgiven. Because you know what will happen if they continue to have access. Then Kendrick, is like if I just show up at your house, walk into your fridge, rummage through, take what I want, and you never say anything, you never stop. Why would I stop, right? It's like unless you draw a line in the sand and say, okay, this is the boundary. And if I keep breaching that boundary, sooner or later you'll be like, you know what, we can hang out, but we'll go somewhere and hang out. You just can't come to my place.
Facts.
Right.
So, what is holding a grudge?
N-
In
And
our
this
Not
country,
sound,
for
holding a
not for
grudge is
not
like, I'm gonna
forgetting.
get you back, right?
hmm?
Holding a grudge is almost like you committing to get somebody back, right? And take revenge.
Hmm.
I don't see setting
Well,
boundaries and being wise as holding a grudge. Holding a grudge, to me, I could be right. In my opinion, I see it as kind of like, oh, you punch me, I'm gonna punch you back.
so I don't necessarily go far as the action of punching you back with holding a grudge. I When I see holding a grudge, it's not letting. I remember what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still am affected by what you did. I haven't let it go. Whether I react or not, I think it's neither here nor there. I have like I just never. I remember it, and I remember it like with contempt. Like it's like there's something there
Resentment
that
and
every
bitterness.
time I see you, was that
Resentment and bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
resentment and bitterness that and it's something that I actively have not let go. Like
Mhm.
it's still in me. Whereas
So, is that
whereas
this?
for I don't see it
Is
as
that
that.
this here 17 and 18, 19? Is that not
I
holding a
don't see it
grudge?
as that. I
Why
don't
not?
see it as that because I remember you do something that I remember is different than you doing something to me where I have bitterness and hate towards you because of what you did. I can remember what you did. I can forgive you, remember it, continue to move on, never forget it, right? But it doesn't affect my daily life or when I see you. When the grudge happens when like I see you and I get that same feeling,
Yeah, it comes back up.
right? It just comes back and I feel the same way I did the first time you did that to me.
So when I remember to hold you to it, to take you to it, and I'm, I'm never gonna forget this. I'm gonna hold on to it and deal with it. That is not holding a grudge.
I don't think so.
That's just
Because you're instructed to do it. A grudge comes from you. So I feel like
Wise and serpents eat.
they're being instructed to remember it, and that when the time comes, they need to wipe them out. So that doesn't sound like they're having the grudge. You can't make somebody have a grudge. Like he's telling them, make sure you remember, and when that time
Correct.
comes, we need to wipe them out. That
Correct.
doesn't sound like they're harboring it. There might be one or two that's harboring it, but it doesn't sound like something that's being harbored within themselves. It looks like he's like, yo, don't forget what they did. He's like, all right, so when the time comes, y'all be ready.
that's not like an institutional grudge.
I mean, is there such a thing? Like,
Yeah, we as a people, we ain't gonna forget we ain't laying that
I
grudge.
don't do grudges collectively. I'm sorry. I don't do collective grudges.
So just to be
I either feel it or I don't. Like, no.
just to be clear, what verses are we talking about?
Are we talking about Deuteronomy 25, 17 through 19?
And you're getting grudge from where?
Remember what the Amalekites did to you on the way out of Egypt. You were tired and worn out. They met with you on the journey. They attacked everyone who was lagging behind. They didn't have any respect for God. The Lord your God will give you peace and rest from all your enemies around us. He'll do this in the land he's given you to take over. No one on earth will mention the Amalekites ever again because you will destroy them. Don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
That don't feel like somebody harboring a grudge. That Moses tell him, hey, don't
So
forget what they did, make sure you
so
deal
it
with
reads
that,
it,
Don't
it
let
reads a
it,
little
don't let them
different.
off the hook,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
It
sounds
reads
like
a
grudge.
little different in the Amplified.
Okay, read it in the Amplified.
Well,
So
the dictionary says grudge is is to have resentment. That's the dictionary definition of grudge.
Okay. Is this resentment? Does it feel like resentment? It feels like resentment.
That was absolutely
No.
resentment.
I don't.
No,
First of
it
all,
absolutely was.
no one's coaxing me into resentment.
Yeah,
No one's
that's all.
telling
Like,
me to
I
have.
can't.
No
That
one's
doesn't work
telling me to
for
have
me.
resentment.
That doesn't work
Like,
for me.
yeah, I don't see. So the fact that he
God
says in
resented
verse
the
17. So
Cliff, you
go
mute
ahead.
yourself. You muted yourself.
And I think he froze. Oh, somebody froze.
No, he muted himself. You hit mute. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying that. God resented the fact that the Amalekites did the Israelites the way they did. And God was like,
Right,
hey,
God.
when we get back on our feet, I want you to
Right.
wipe them out.
Right. Right.
I want
Right.
no one but the name of black.
Right.
That
Right. Right.
is resentment.
Not by the Israelites though.
Not by the people. Not by the people. They
Like,
were
there's
being
no
instructed.
instruction. There's no instruction there.
All right, well,
for us
let's
to
go with
have
that. Let's say it's not the people, right? Let's
Mhm.
say it is God. Is he
Mhm.
now setting precedent that makes it okay to? Because if God can hold a grudge and be resentful, then it's not wrong, right?
No,
Is there any
no,
instance where we could do it then?
no.
If he is
No.
established that he could do it, and
No,
be
we're not.
holy and
We're not.
righteous to hold this
We're not
grudge.
the
No,
same.
we're not.
No, we're not the
We're not the
same.
same.
So there's no. So we can't do it.
He
can.
not.
Yeah.
He not like us.
Nah, not you.
Well said, sir. Well said. Well said.
It's just
So
not.
God to
It's,
hold
no.
grudges, we can. As we
This
say.
is a right. If it is resentment, it's a righteous resentment.
Yeah, there's a lot of
we
stu-
got
there's
it
a lot of
different.
stuff. There's a lot of stuff he could do that we can't do.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's more. I think it's tied to his name. Like they didn't respect. They didn't put
Put
respect
some
on his name.
respect on
Like,
my
like,
name.
wait a minute. Like you did what? And you waited. And okay, all right. So when the time comes, that's when y'all need to handle that. They
yeah,
might
it
not
was
have-
very.
Yeah.
But he was like, remember what they did to you.
Yeah,
Like,
remember.
Yes.
I can remember, but I don't necessarily have to be the one holding the grudge. Like, you know what
First
I'm
of all,
saying? Like,
if,
yeah.
He ain't
if
trying
you
to
have to
rile you
tell
up
if
say,
you have to
"Don't
re-
take
if
that."
you have to tell me to remember the grudge, then we gotta like that's not.
Yeah.
You're telling me to remember the
No,
grudge.
man. So I could. So
that means it
think
doesn't
about
mean
this,
anything to
right? Boy, you let that man do that to you, boy. Boy, you let
Yeah,
that man.
sound like a
No,
chain
but
up.
he should never get away
Yeah.
with that, man.
And-
That's
and-
chain up
and-
thing.
And the only reason they're going to do something is because you reminded them of it. It's not because they felt it.
It's not a grudge. Yeah. It's
They
not
didn't
because-
experience
And you're
it.
Right.
making them think about it like, yeah, you know, you're right. I was going to let that
Correct.
man slide, but yeah,
Yeah.
I ain't letting that
Yes.
slide at all.
Right. Well, I said,
And I'm not.
I'm
and
following instructions. That's it. That's it.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not saying
follow
God's a
instructions.
gaslighter. I'm
I
not saying
gained
he's
some pleasure out of
gaslighting
it,
in this
but
situation.
don't mind that. I just follow instructions.
It's a
No.
little gaslighting ish, like in the heavenly term.
Cliff, go ahead.
This was more like, yo, cuz man, you know, situation we just trying to pass through, cuz.
Hold on.
Homie,
They're
second-
Crips now?
second
Big
cousin of
homie.
mine.
Yeah. Crips.
We even gonna stay
Crips
for.
now?
We gonna stay
Yo,
by the
blood.
road.
Like
We
you-
not even
like
gonna
what?
bother you.
Wow.
Second cousin of mine, you know what I mean? We just wanna slide through real quick. You understand what's going on? And then my second cousin says, heck to the no. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna beat and slaughter and try to kill and hurt you. So you leaving, you going through the land running in a sense, like we
Right.
trying to survive. And it's like, yo, I'm gonna remember that, cuz.
He's
Yeah.
giving him instructions
When we
entire.
get
He's
back
giving
on
him
our feet,
instructions the entire time.
But the fact that he's telling them to remember indicates to me that some of them was not. They weren't holding no grudges. You wouldn't have to remind me. You'd have just been like, "Hey, when I said hooty hoo, you already know what time it is. You know we gonna do." You wouldn't have to like.
So let's be fair about it.
I think God,
These young people,
I think
these
God
young
was
people are
saying,
young people who grew up and didn't necessarily have that experience. Check it out.
Yeah.
The people who were lagging
Okay, so
behind were likely old people,
That's even worse.
sick
Yeah.
people, and children who got hurt. And these
Yeah.
children weren't part of the adults who experienced it. So they kind of
Yeah.
they know what happened,
Yeah.
but it really wasn't something that happened to them. So
Mhm.
they now have to be reminded, hey, remember that. Because they
Agreed.
probably would have let that slide.
Agreed.
Right, but
But
that
I think
still
that's the
doesn't
thing.
initiate grudge. Like I still wouldn't have a grudge.
So Moses is
I
not the
still
one with the
have-
grudge.
That feeling.
Now remember, it's Moses who's doing
He
this
might
talking
be the
now.
one. He might have the grudge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's
Have the
Moses
grudge, 'cause
now.
he lived through it. He remembers.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know
You
if I
have
And
see
he's
it.
like, if
you
he
have
heard
to-
me, he heard all of us. So we need to do the same.
I'm not
well, so
sure.
you have
I'm
to
not sure I
pass
see
that
here.
on to next generation. It's the same.
Agreed.
So
See, that's
I am not. I did
Hatfields and
not
McCoys. We don't know why we're
experience
doing
the
it. We just
whips
don't.
across my back. Listen. I did not experience the whips across my back, nor the misjudgment to the dent that my family did. But I'm still owed reparations.
okay. Are you holding grudge?
Okay, that's fine, but I'm not holding a grudge.
It wasn't
against
me.
it.
It wasn't me that did it.
Right.
But I remember what you did to my grandma.
Right. You
I
can
was told
remember.
what you did to my
You
grandma.
can remember.
100%.
Get a chance.
And I
A
guess that's
grudge-
why I could meet out. That's why I could be the one to meet out the judgment, right? Because I don't have that necessarily personal investment to the same kind of degree as someone who experienced it, right?
Grudge is very personal.
It is personal. It's up. Those Amalekites, they are descendants of Esau. So nah.
Like the Knicks have
riding
a
on them.
grudge against the Bulls, right? But the thing is, Courtney's kids aren't gonna know the grudge against the Bulls because they never experienced. Courtney experienced the defeat,
So I'm gonna have to tell them, like, we
right?
don't
But it's not. But it's not. But it's
You
not.
gotta,
Gonna,
you
but
have
it's
to
not gonna
amp
hit
them
the
up,
same.
right?
exactly.
It's not gonna hit
That's
the
how it
same.
goes. That's how you
It's
gotta
not
do
gonna
it.
hit the same,
It's not.
Right. So
right?
now,
Because they're gonna
when
grow up. They're gonna
Courtney
grow up
is
fans of Bronny. They're
now
growing
when
up friends of
Courtney is
Bronny James.
legitimizing Bulls bashing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
He's advancing the grudge that he has, whether they pick it up or not. Yes.
Correct.
So
Exactly.
back to my question: is there a time when it's okay to be Courtney? Is there a legitimate
Every
time
day.
to do
Courtney's
that?
dead here.
That's it.
Or Courtney's about to die because it's Moses about to die. Moses
Or
is still
close to
alive.
being done. Like
Right,
his grudge
right,
means
right.
nothing.
He said, "Yo, handle the business for us, yo."
Yeah, I don't
Because
see. I
David does the
don't
same
see
thing, right?
where.
To
Was that
Solomon. He
again?
tells David does the same thing to Solomon. He doesn't handle the situation himself. He tells Solomon to deal with it when he was dying. Like he was like, remember what that man do to me? Don't let that slide. You deal with that.
Who put the definition of grudge up? Do the definition again.
Oh, I think that was Cliff. That was.
Yeah, it wasn't put up. I think they were saying resentment and ill will and bitterness harbored against someone,
Mhm.
often stemming from past
Yeah.
insults, injury, or perceived wrong. Yeah, I initiate that on somebody. I don't know. Well, me. Let's speak for me. You can't. It doesn't work that way for me.
So
Let me ask you a question, Jared. Do you have grudges? And I'll ask this to everybody. Does anyone here have a grudge against someone?
no, I don't hold on to them things. But I was now asking, this look like there's a legitimate space where that could happen. So I was wondering about it, but I don't have those experiences.
But why don't you have it?
Why don't I have it? I don't have it because of the parable of the unmerciful servant. That has affected my whole evaluation of right and wrong against people. And that there's nothing that anybody could do to me that would be worse than what I have done to God or what I owe him. And because of what he's done for me, nothing nobody could do is worth a grudge. It measures up. Like I no longer see someone's actions in those lights. I personally see people who are struggling with the same kind of fight against their will that I have, that led them to do the things that they were doing the same way I have been doing those things. So I see me in other people. So me personally, I don't struggle with that anymore. I haven't for a very long time because of that.
I don't think I don't have grudges against people. I think I can imagine situations that increase the likelihood of me holding grudges. But I think it would be, for me, I think it would be, I'm big on learning why we do what we do. And nobody comes into this world wanting to cause pain and do ill will to people, right? So life experiences, things that happen, nurturing, all that stuff comes into play. So even if I'm upset, for me, I have this added perspective. And so like I don't think I can imagine now people I've had a grudge against, even in if I reflect on like my most painful experiences. I don't hold grudge. I set boundaries, right? I put up, you know, but I'm not like, oh, I remember that time. Like, I can't even remember somebody. Like, I can only think of one thing right now where I remember being very, very, very upset. And I don't hold it to right now. I wouldn't say I hold a grudge against the person. I don't have no ill will, no negative anything. Like, I actually wish all good things. So I think I can think of I can imagine very horrible situations where I could see the likelihood of me holding a grudge. But I think for me, I have the added perspective of look realizing that behavior happens in environments. Behavior is not isolated from the environment. So I have to consider context, upbringing, nurturing, and all that stuff. So that changes how I look at the actions of somebody else.
Mhm.
So,
And I guess the thing is like, so what I went through and read back, her hands and grabs the aggressor's genitals. So sorry, that's without context. That was verse 11. That was a bad
I was like, wait, what?
that was a bad
Oh.
that was a bad read. That was a bad read. That's in there. It's just a bad read without context.
I was like, I didn't read.
No, verse 11, but it's fine.
Verse
There's a
11.
lot of stuff that came before that, but I'm just saying,
God.
that's Deuteronomy 25 verse. Anyway, when you when you read through, as you read through like the verses before, I think it actually provides context to actually what's being said in 17 through 19.
Go ahead, talk to me.
So there is like this conversation, or maybe not even a conversation, maybe more like a monologue of the things that you should do, right? Verse 11, if two men, a man and his countrymen are fighting, and the wife of one approaches to rescue her husband from the man who is striking him, right? So then you go down to verse 13. You should not have in your bag inaccurate weights, a heavy and a light, so you can cheat others, right? You shall not, I'm reading it amplified. You shall not have in your house inaccurate measures, large or small. So it's telling you all these things that you shouldn't do, right? These are instructions. And then it comes down to 17. Oh, so in 16, so actually I'll do from 13. You should not have in your bag inaccurate weights, a heavy and a light, so you can cheat others. You shall not have in your house inaccurate measures, a large and a small. You shall have a perfect and full and just weight, and perfect and just measure, so that your days may be long in the land which the Lord your God gives you. For everyone who does such things, everyone who acts unjustly without personal integrity, is utterly repulsive to the Lord your God. Right. So he's telling you all these things that you should do based upon being honorable in certain situations. Right. Then it comes down here. Then it says, remember what Amalek did to you. So it gives a different, so it's not just like, remember what Amalek did to you. It's going through and saying, these are things that are unjust. These are things that you shouldn't do, and how you treat each other.
Like
right?
Amalek.
And then remember what Amalek did to you along the road when you came from Egypt.
Yeah,
how
he
you
waited till
how
they
he
were
met you
tired.
along the road and attacked you with stragglers and all that. Therefore, when the Lord your God has given you rest from all your surrounding enemies in the land in which the Lord God gives you as an inheritance to possess, you should not wipe out the memory. You shall wipe out the memory of Amalek from under the heaven. You must not forget. So it's all within the context of, there was no grudge there. It was essentially saying, in order to be just, these are the just things, and to continue providing this just environment, right? That exists. But remember what this dude did. This dude did this to you. Don't do that. In order not to do that, wipe him out. That's not a grudge. That's preserving this environment that I'm trying to create for you. Remember this. Does that make sense?
Yes. Now, tell you a little bit about my experience. So we read Deuteronomy 25, and then I had to read Psalm 58. And so Psalm 58, 10 and 11 say, godly people will be glad when those who have hurt them are paid back. They will dip their feet in the blood of those who do evil. Then people will say, the godly will get their reward. There's really a God who judges the earth. The idea of the payback and then the reveling in it, the dipping the feet in the blood who are hurt, does enhance that grudge idea. which is why that was a reference when I made my question. I was like, re Psalm 58, because it's like, that the posture seems similar.
It's R&B, dog.
With R&B, the song.
It's R&B.
Don't pay too much attention to the song.
It's emotional. It's emotional.
Yeah, but dip the feet in the blood of the people like that.
Well, so you can revel when injustice is handled and not hold a grudge.
Yes, fair enough. But dipping your feet in the blood.
listen.
I mean, that's just poetic freestyling going on right there. That's not literal.
That's a tough one to, yeah.
I'm not sure Tank choked her. I'm just saying, like, this is just the song. Like, it's just, that's what he felt at the time. I'm just, it's R&B.
They will watch.
I don't think they got it.
I'm just saying it's emotional, dog.
So what I'm hearing is no.
No,
This
not
does
for us.
not provide justification for
No,
holding
not in and of ourselves. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I still don't see. I don't see where there's nothing that I've seen exemplified in Christ's character where grudges, like where he held a grudge. I don't see it.
Yeah, because he said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." That's a grudge moment. Like, you need to hold that thing. And he was like, "No, forgive them. They don't know."
Like
Christ, yes, absolutely.
reaping the reward of, like, I don't think I have to punish you and hold a grudge. I can still
Right.
punish you.
Yes.
I don't have to hold a grudge. Like, you can face the consequences of your actions without me holding a grudge. I think the grudge is where I'm.
Yeah.
So it's just the reason I got to grudge is that idea of holding on to it and not forgetting it, and holding on to it to make sure it gets dealt with, and I will never forget. I'm never gonna let that go. That's grudge language, and that's why I asked about it.
But to Jerry,
I'm
and
never
I think
gonna let
Jerry,
that go is grudge language.
but I thought Jerry made a good point. It was like, I don't have to, like, you hurt me. I remember your hurt. I will never allow myself to be put in that position again. But I'm not.
Yes.
I don't have a grudge against you.
Never
I'm
allowing
just not
myself to be
gonna
put in
do
that
that again.
position again is not the same thing as never gonna let that go. My understanding of the idea of forgiveness is letting it go. Right? I may have to deliver consequence, but I'm not holding on to it. Right?
But letting it go meaning what, though?
I'm not gonna keep thinking about it, harboring feelings about it, ruminating on it.
Agreed.
Keeping it in my forefront. I'm gonna deal with it, and this is the consequence, and then I'm moving on. This idea, don't forget, don't let that mess go, seems on the surface to be grudge language. Now, you provided context that helps to shape it in terms of what don't let it go actually means in that context, right? Which is not that. But that whole idea of don't forget that, don't let it go is.
I mean, it's more of like a historical remembering. Like, you're not being grudgeful. It's just don't forget. Like similar to how you learn. Like, people use that saying where they say you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from. Like, there's a historical remembering that has to happen so that you don't make the same mistakes again. And I think, like, the remembering, it's like there's a consequence coming to them, and I know I'm about to leave. I want y'all to remember what they did, because when the time comes, this is how God wants y'all to handle it.
All right. So what happens in 1 Samuel? What is this? 15, verse 2. Thus said the Lord of hosts, I will punish Amalek for what he
Sorry,
did
where are
to
you reading?
Israel.
1 Samuel 15, verse 1 and
Verse
2.
2.
1 Samuel 15, verse 2.
Right.
Okay.
And you can, so 2 says, Thus says the Lord of hosts, I will punish Amalek for what he did to Israel, how he ambushed him on the way when he came up from Egypt. Verse 3, now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have and do not spare them,
Mm-hmm.
but kill both man, woman, infant, nursing child, ox and sheep, camel, donkey. Uh, and so after that, they said Saul gathered people to go do that. So I guess it wasn't even, hey, at this point, Moses gone now.
Yeah, because he told them to remember to do what he said. This is the follow through. This is the not forgetting and following through.
They said the Lord said, go to it.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said they
He
did
ain't
not.
let that go. That's my point. He ain't let that go.
Issue. That's the issue. It says they did
She
not
said, that's
fear
his.
God. The Amalekites did not fear God. I think that's the real issue, not anything else.
So, I
It's,
guess my thing
I'm
is
leaning
that
towards
with the
where
grudge, it's
Henrik
not
was
just the
headed.
remembering. Do you think? Go ahead. My bad.
No, go ahead, Cliff.
I think. Sorry, my thing is with the delay. I'm leaning towards where Kendrick was headed with judgment and that the Bible says vengeance is mine, and we're supposed to allow God uh, to in a sense punish our people for us. David cried often about, Lord, how long do I have to suffer this? I need for you to take folks and and get
Mm-hmm.
rid of them. And I think
Mm-hmm.
in God's there is a mercy that is. Am I saying this right? Because I think that God could have did a lot of things differently, but I think trauma hits different for different people. And the old adage is repetition deepens the impression on the mind. So I think he did things a certain way to make a point that stuck throughout centuries and generations. He could have just opened up the earth like he did before and swallowed everybody, but there was a reason that he wanted it to happen this way. And for you to say stuff like dance in the blood of your, I mean, all of those are visuals, man, that seem to imply I do anywhere near doing anything like this. This is how things are going to go down. That's
Fair enough.
and that is that crazy.
The deterrent. Okay. I received that. I received the necessary deterrent to deal with it in a certain way to kind of let people know how bad it is.
Right.
I can receive
Correct.
that.
Correct. Because
challenge- Go
the grudge has some level of not just remembering, but it's like this emotional effect that it has on someone, right? And I'm not sure when I'm reading these things, I'm not saying that God isn't emotionally affected by it, right? Because I think I can understand that, but I don't think that the emotions are driving his decisions to do this. I think it's literally just, what I see is based upon what I'm seeing, based upon what I've called you to be, I need this thing eradicated in order for you to preserve, but in order to preserve what I've set for you to be.
Okay.
Right. As opposed to like, I mean, we know emotional people. Right. It's sometimes it's sometimes irrational.
He appears to be that too. And
Yeah.
because that was my very next thing. Is it a godlike trait to act out violently when angry? And I have a couple of verses here where that appears to be the case.
Absolutely. I believe
violently when angry. Like, growing up, I had this thing with my mother. She didn't used to act out when she was angry, and when she was dealing with consequences, she used to calm down first and then do it. And I was like, oh, that must be the godly way. Nah, the God in the Bible appears to be, nah, vex and move out of the way, Moses. Let me rain down fire on these people. Like he seems to.
I believe in technical fouls. You should get a technical foul every now and then.
And Matthew 22:7 is the one that caused me to think about it. But before I go there, I wanted to say I think you're on to something, Karen, because forgiveness seems to be the opposite of holding a grudge, because the language here, forgiveness is the voluntary, intentional process of releasing the resentment, anger, and vengeance towards someone who has caused harm, regardless of
Facts.
whether they deserve this. Whereas a grudge is a holding on to the resentment, anger, and vengeance, right? And
Correct.
that's not related to forgetting the act or remembering the act, and it's not
Correct.
related to consequence at all, or the need
Correct.
for it, or the decision to give it or not to give it. It's not. There's not a tie to it necessarily. It's the releasing of the emotional thing, and that's why, to me, when I saw the don't forget it, that sounds like a holding on to the emotional thing. Now, you provided the context to show that that's not what's happening, but that's why it flagged for me, because someone who is forgiving is not necessarily, riling themselves up emotionally with the don't forget, don't let that slide, don't let that pass. And it might just be
Correct.
how I was reading that language, but forgiveness is the opposite of grudging.
No, and I think there are countless examples, like real life examples, as that we've seen in the Bible. Like I look at Paul or Saul when he became Paul, right? It wasn't easy for the others to to forgive and forget like what he did to them, right? And their friends.
Imagine,
Right?
imagine for a second, Kenrick, if what's his name? Stephen's family was in the church that
Facts.
Paul showed up at, right? And it's like
You the Bama had an experience on a horse, and now we all of a sudden like, no, 100%. Like it doesn't. However, the forgetting didn't go away, right? As soon as this dude does something crazy, like what he was doing before, like it's on again, right? But although I'm not going to forget, I do have a responsibility to emotionally allow all the other things to go, because if God said this is where he's supposed to be, then he's supposed to be here. Now, if he does something contrary to that, then we got issues again, right? And so you don't forget, but I can't be emotionally resentful, right, with what he's doing moving forward, just because of what he did in the past. And I think that's the difference.
I got you.
Okay, that that begs me the question of, is it then make more sense to have a grudge if the party, if they're kind of maybe they did things clearly something in the past, but if they're continuing to do in the same vein something similar, so you might have said, yeah, I forgive that, I'm over that, I'm cool.
I can't say it like that.
Yeah, I was like,
But
first of all, why you gotta make him? You made him like a herb, dog. Like it's like
that's
only
all
herbs
y'all. That's
forgive,
y'all
dog.
mind. That's y'all mind. I don't know what that's about.
No, you said it. You said it like earlier, like
Y'all crazy, but I'm just saying. So both of they can now they're doing fresh new things, but in the same, it's like, oh, they still disrespecting me, or they're still pushing that whatever that boundary set that you set,
mm-hmm.
Then you be like nah, like I don't know how else to deal with that. It's like, no, they're this is what did you just say? This is just who they are.
Absolutely.
Or you go with Peter, because Peter had that same question, right? So how much time am I supposed to forgive that?
Right,
How much time am I supposed to deal with that?
right.
That's exactly what Peter was asking.
It is, but my question is, so what is the deal with that? I guess my thing is like, at some point I can choose, like, I don't need to have the resentment or the grudge. I can remove myself from the situation.
Okay.
Right?
Maybe.
I'm just trying to figure out like what's like I don't understand
Maybe.
like how
Jesus
long
couldn't
do I have to
remove
deal with
himself from
it?
the cross.
Was that again?
Jesus couldn't remove himself from the cross, so maybe
He did. He did. He died.
he couldn't come down. He was stuck there.
He died.
And then
He,
he
He
rose
had to
again.
deal with that.
Yes,
he did. No,
He
he
didn't have
left.
a
he died.
choice. He's like,
He cut off all noise. He was like, I'm done. It is finished. I'm not listening to this anymore.
I could
It's a
choose
wrap.
to
I'm
die.
done.
That's my escape. I could choose to die. Yeah.
Absolutely. He
That's
chose to
what the
die.
matter. I don't have to take this.
He was
I'm
like,
going home.
he
Yeah.
was like, I'm done. I'm cutting it off for 3 days. I'll come back in 3 days and I'll deal with all this stuff later. Like that's what he did.
Okay.
Right? So you can remove yourself from the situation, which is what he
Okay.
did. I never thought about that. That was Holy Spirit driven. Don't get mad at me.
100%.
No, I think he didn't allow it to take him off
I'm
his
with-
purpose. He was like, I'm here for a reason. I can't even
Exactly. That's where I was going.
Well, that's what I meant.
I want to withdraw my
That's what I meant.
previous statement about God holding a grudge. Because the more I think about it, perfect love can't hold a grudge.
No, I agree. I just said this.
The two
That
can't.
I'm electing reads like a grudge.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it is, but it reads like one.
it does. It does. I
On the
absolutely
surface, it
agree on
looks
that.
like a grudge.
It didn't look like a grudge to me. I don't know. But yeah.
You sure it look like something?
You have enough wisdom to look past the surface things, but just on the surface, when you look at it, you realize, okay, it's not right, but
Mhm.
it bears the markings and similarity with grudge behavior.
Now that walking in blood one, I'm still stuck on that one, but the other one.
Now, before I take Kenrick, Matthew 22:7, only because we were in the same vein. Matthew 22:7.
Mm-hmm.
I also marked Deuteronomy 31:17 and 29 and 32:16, 21 and 22. Psalm 59:13, all of those, all in the same week, but Matthew 22:7.
Mm-hmm.
22:7. The king became very angry. He sent his army to destroy them. They killed those murderers and burned their city.
Now, context: the story is about the king who rented to the people, or the wedding dinner. No, that's the people who were supposed to come to the wedding, and they, yeah. And then when they went away from the wedding, they didn't come to the wedding, and then they went and they take the slaves, they treated them badly and killed them. And the king heard about it, and he got upset and took action in anger. And his action was violent, right? He didn't just go and rescue his slaves. He murdered all the people and burned down the city. This king is supposed to be representative of God and his action. And so this is a parable, yeah.
Is that anger?
But you see the same God. Are they related? Is there a relationship between anger and vengeance? And is this the only place where God is pictured as being angry and taking action? Psalm 59:13. Taking action in anger, and then his anger being, and he don't. I think I remember reading in one of them prophecies, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, where God he lets out his anger, and then he's like, all right, now that my anger is subsided, and now we could talk. Right now, I've had a chance to, vent.
All right. So 50, Psalm 59:13. Burn them up in your anger, burn them up until there isn't anything left of them. Then everyone from one end of the earth to the other will know that God rules over the people of Jacob.
Now, granted, this is David asking, but you can ask him for something that's outside of his character like that, or maybe there's something you know that he has the ability and the willingness to do.
I feel you. Yeah.
But it's not a controlled by anger. I think it's not the same as for us. We can't do this. Period. Whatever he does, we can't do it. We cannot. We don't have.
Be
We don't
angry
even have
with
the
him not.
perspective of our fellow man to even try to do what he's done. We cannot because we don't have the same perspective. We should, but we don't.
We could start documenting all the times God got angry and what he did and the level of violence,
Yeah.
the degree of violence
Mhm.
that he meets out when he's angry. Like,
Mhm.
that's a scary dude. Don't
Right,
get
but he's
him
not.
mad, but he'll light you up.
But he's not. I think it would be scarier if it's like his anger can't be controlled. Like it takes over and he is no longer
Is
in
that not
control.
what's happening?
No, no, no. Everything God does is intentional. So even when it looks horrible,
Yep. Yep.
like, yeah, no, no. The God of the universe cannot be controlled by his anger. I don't believe so.
Again,
I think
this
if,
all
if God were
it's
to really just let his anger go, everything would cease to exist.
Yeah.
Okay. Just feel like I've read
Yeah.
where he had to satiate his anger with violence, and then when he calmed down, he relaxed. And I think I wish I could find the verse right now where I was like, now that
Where
my
he could not control his anger.
no, where he was like, I'm acting in anger and I'm gonna do
Right.
this, and now that I've cooled down. Now I've
Right.
come down a little bit. Now we could talk.
Right.
But
Right.
before, when I was angry, I went to, like, he almost like a person with the picture is almost like, I'm not saying this is the
Mhm.
reality,
Mhm.
right? But the picture
Mhm.
that is painted is almost like someone who has a temper tantrum, and he starts to throw things, and then, all right, I'm calm now. And it's like, maybe I shouldn't have done it like that, or done so much of that, or
I mean, it's probably like the whole like long suffering thing. Like he's held a lot, and so at some point, some of it's gotta come out. But I don't think I still don't imagine him being controlled by his anger. Like in
so.
Ephesians where it talks about be angry and don't sin. Like you can be angry. There's nothing wrong with anger. Anger doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It's what you do
But
with
his
it.
anger is being described as wrath and
Right.
fierce anger.
Right.
in some cases.
Uh-huh. But with the justice tied to it. Like, he's not just burning things down for the sake of burning things down. Like he's not just willy-nilly setting things on fire and dropping it. Like that's not what I've ever seen.
No,
You
it's
get a
not
burning,
really.
and you get a burning, and you get a burning. No, he's not doing that.
No, he's not. He's not doing that. It's always tied to
He's doing
reason,
that.
but it's
Right. So there's a
it's always
just
violent.
anger, a just
It's always violent.
yes.
Judgment.
But it's
It-
not that it's just always valid. It's
No,
like
violent.
oh
What's always
violent.
violent? What's
Sometimes
always
it has
violent?
Oh,
When he acts in his anger, his stuff is violent. Like,
But he doesn't always act
in his
anger.
judgment.
Does he always act
So
when he's
There you
angry?
go.
there's a lot of verses where God is like, I'm angry, so I'm going to
Right.
do this, or
And he
because I'm
must
angry, I'm doing that.
Yeah, but I
Right.
agree with Cliff. I think that choice to act in anger is judgment. It's not like
Judgment,
you
not
just
yeah.
passed out. It's like I had all I can have, and now comes judgment. Because judgment always comes sooner or later, right?
Because he always
Good
gives
and
them
evil
warning.
is
He
a
says
natural
warning,
law. So
warning, 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 warning,
warning,
warning,
warning, warning,
warning,
warning.
warning, warning, warning,
Firebomb.
warning, warning. And it's like, all right, y'all not hearing me.
But
One
and even
Have to come
acting in
sometimes, Mike.
anger, but even acting in anger, and maybe I think the only time I would probably say, and it wasn't necessarily anger, it's more like regret. Is I think what what it was more like was a flood, but in every situation it was like to send a message. Like it was very intentional in why he did it, when he did it, how he did it,
how he did it.
where he did it. Like it wasn't just to be angry, violent just to be violent. It was purposeful in nature, in correction, right? In making sure people understood how upset he was because of the sacredness or whatever it was, right? I think all of it was very intentional and purposeful. So it wasn't being angry to be angry. It wasn't being resentful to be resentful. There was a reason why he did it. It was always purposeful, and it was always in an effort of reconciliation and bringing you back to where you're supposed to be.
And that's why we can't do it, because we mess up the image of him when we do angry stuff. And it's like, well, God's like, I did that. I didn't tell you to do all that. That's not what it is.
About the flood. I mean, anytime you drown Methuselah, then that's a problem. But like outside the flood,
before the flood,
or the year of the flood.
Oh yeah,
Whatever.
he
We can have a
died just
conversation.
before the flood. He was already dead.
The day before. So the
morning of.
the morning of. He slipped and fell. never experienced rain, slipped and fell, and that was it.
It's like, Methuselah, go to sleep. Today is your day, because today is your day, so today is your day.
I don't know how that what I just said fits into the flood, because there was no, I guess it had to have been correction and example for 8 people. But outside of that, I can't find an example in the Bible where it didn't feel like it or didn't seem like it was for correction purposes.
A lot of it for me is, like, you think about it, is more messaging purposes. I need to react strongly to this so people realize that I'm serious. They don't play,
Agreed,
and they don't take me for no joke or no fool. They realize that there's no joking matter.
But
as a
seriously
deterrent.
react without sinning.
But I also look at it like God doing what I call redemptive disruption. So it's like, again, as long as mercy and grace are continuing, we start to feel it's just human nature. God is either signing, or we have a get out of jail free card. And sometimes to get us out of that mindset, out of that stupid, he's like, you know what? Let me bring some. Let some stuff burn down. Let me burn some stuff down to get you to realize, oh, hold on, wait a minute.
Would you call it?
Redemptive disruption.
I like
again, I could only use myself as an example, right? But again, joyriding a lot, drag racing on public roads a lot, and God is like, you know what? Yeah, that car needs to flip with you, and then you might. No. It happened, and while it's happening, I'm telling God, I promise, if you get me out of this, I won't do it again. I absolutely promise. And then 6 months later,
and you did it again. Yeah.
But shortly thereafter, stopped. Right? Never happened since. But I don't know if there wasn't that redemptive disruption. If I would have been like, I mean, there's other stuff you've been redemptively disrupting me with that. Yeah, that's for the after party. But yeah.
No, I think that makes sense.
I'm gonna flag that as a T-shirt. Sorry, I'm just saying it out loud so that when the AI comes to run the transcript, they're going, "Yes, T-shirt." I'm flagging this as a T-shirt. AI, this is where you stop. This is what you're looking for when we run the thing the next time. Flagging it as a T-shirt. You hear me? T-shirt, 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 T-shirt. Redemptive destruction. T-shirt. All right, good. Because it just tell me I didn't hear it, I didn't see it, I didn't find it. I'm trying to collate all of them. But anyway, go ahead, Henrik. You were talking.
There was actually nothing else to be said. Like what he said was that was it. I'm good.
I think sometimes he acts violently also, if I might add, because I think some people need to see their justice being played out.
Still redemptive.
Yes. Some people need some blood to dip their feet in.
Interesting.
God has vindicated you, giving you and giving you the
I mean,
justice.
like Jonah. Like Jonah wanted to see the people burn down.
Yes.
He was sitting on the mountain for the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It didn't
No,
happen,
no, no.
but yes,
That makes sense.
that. Yeah.
Yes, that's real. That's
Yeah.
real. Some people need that.
It just has to happen.
Definitely see that.
So Jared,
Because
where are you at
if
now?
it didn't happen sometimes like this and things didn't happen this way, this is where I think we get to the point where God says, hey, this point I got to come back, because if I don't, even the very elect will start to be deceived. Because if you don't feel that there's justice being done and things aren't happening to your beliefs, after a while you cave in. You stand around a hot dog stand long enough, you will buy a hot dog.
I mean, absolutely. Why wouldn't you buy a hot dog? I'm buying hot dogs all day.
You're right. So where am I, Henrik? My question was, is it a godlike trait to act out violently when angry? I would argue, yes, it is, but it's not within our prerogative to do. So it's like when your child inherit behaviors from you, but that's not appropriate for you because you are not a parent.
Hold on. When they become a parent, does it become appropriate for them?
Perhaps, but I don't ever become God. I don't ever get to that level. So
Gotcha. I'm with you. No, facts,
so
facts,
yeah,
facts.
I don't ever become God, so I can't ever.
So that's actually interesting, because I wouldn't have taken it that way, but that actually makes sense to me. Because I would just say it's not our role, right? But the way you framed it is that, yeah, that's interesting. I would not.
We're
Look
made
at
in
that
the
from that
image of God.
perspective.
So we people, human beings are creators by nature. Like we in an age where that whole creative thing is a whole thing people are leaning
Facts.
into now. That
Absolutely.
is a godlike trait. That's built into our DNA. That framing for creation, right? Made in
the Tower of Babel.
Well, I ain't say all our creations are for good. I'm not saying that all our creations are good, but the desire and the innate tendency towards creation,
Correct.
is almost like from the image of God into us.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
That we now have to harness in our role as created beings. Right? So I think that anger thing is one of them as well. But to be fair, though, the anger, as you all have pointed out, is intentional control means of meting out justice so people could dip their feet in blood, or feel like they've been vindicated, as well as to send strong messages. I think even us as human beings and parents, we do pass that on, right? So it's more of managing the trait appropriate for our stage and our place.
Yeah.
This is why you would see the Bible saying, "Be angry and sin not."
Correct.
Because all the emotions are coming as part of the image, right? All of them, including anger. So it's harnessing them according to what's appropriate for us. So yeah, at least that's what I'm walking away with.
No, I get it.
All right, talk to me. I know you had said you had something, and we went here.
No, I hate to follow up with that, with the fact that I believe that God doesn't have a problem with us having multiple wives, and
Where'd you get that?
and it's not adultery.
No, it's not adultery, but where'd you get that?
So there's someone that sent me some information on this, and we came to Deuteronomy 17, where it talks about a couple different things, and I thought they were taken out of context. But I've always when I read Exodus 20, and it talks about not committing adultery. Adultery is having relations with someone who's not your wife.
No,
But if you
someone
have
else's wife.
was someone who's not your wife,
Someone
not
else's wife.
necessarily somebody else's wife, but someone
Yeah,
that's
this
not your wife.
someone else was not your wife.
That's not adultery. That's fornication.
No.
Well, yes.
So
Someone
So
who's
if
not
you're
your wife.
if you're
Yes,
met,
yes.
okay,
Yes,
so
who's not
yes,
your wife.
so-
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
yes. So
They
you have
could
a
be single,
wife,
they could be married, yes, but it's not your wife. Yes.
correct,
Mhm.
but it's not your wife.
It's
I
not
can have
your wife.
multiple wives, and it's
If you have
not
multiple
committing
wives,
adultery.
correct. Correct.
And
Correct.
so,
If you wife them, it's not
Um,
adultery.
correct. A lot of things that we talk about in here is cultural,
Correct.
right? And I get it, right? So I would never have another wife
Mm-hmm.
because Jewel would not allow it.
Right.
Well, first of all, Jewel, if you're listening, I don't even want one. But if
I'm using myself to make a hypothetical to make a point. Yes, we see.
100%,
Right.
right? So please don't hold a grudge.
Hypothetical
So
for a point.
Unless it's righteous.
So Deuteronomy 17. Deuteronomy 17. I'm getting there. And I think it is Deuteronomy 17. Where was it? Sorry, I was too caught up in like looking at it, talking about all the other stuff. 14. Let's go from 14. I don't know if Courtney, you want to read this.
Oh, this sounds good.
No,
All right.
no.
You will enter the land the Lord your God is giving you. You will take it as your own. You will make your homes in it. When you do, you will say, "Let's appoint a king over us, just like all the nations around us." When that happens, make sure you appoint over yourselves a king the Lord your God chooses. He must be from among your own people. Don't appoint over yourself someone from another country. Don't choose anyone who isn't from one of the tribes of Israel. The king must not get large numbers of horses for himself. He must not make the people return to Egypt to get more horses. The Lord has told you, you must not go back there again. The king must not have many wives. If he does, they will lead him astray. He must not store up large amounts of silver and gold. Keep going.
So no,
Okay.
that's good.
Okay.
That's perfect. So the person texted me and was like, "You see, you're not supposed to have multiple wives." Which I see that there, but it also says that you're not supposed to have a lot of silver and gold either. But no one will ask about the silver and gold, right?
For
And tell you
himself.
that,
Right.
right? No one will say that, right? And then no one will say that you're not supposed
The
to
text says
acquire horses.
Well, it says for himself, meaning just only for
respectfully,
himself.
Correct.
right? Respectfully,
Go
the
ahead.
text says the king can't do that. Just respect king can't do that.
Yeah. Yes. No, So
That's
so
his point.
yes.
That's
My point.
Henrik's point.
So my point is context is very important
Okay.
as we're reading all these different things. This is specifically for
Guidelines for
the
king.
king, right?
Mhm.
Is specifically talking about when they're conquering another land.
Mhm.
It's specifically talking about, and then you start going through, and you realize like, because I think it starts talking about in 18, now it shall come about when he sits on his throne of his kingdom, he's writing himself a copy of it. All this stuff talks about like, because it's talking about who are you actually allowing to reign,
Will you?
Like
Right.
you're the person that's placed in charge that people can see, but who is actually controlling and running this stuff, right? And where is your allegiance? And what he's saying is that typically, because all the things that were mentioned here are very common, right? Ways that people
King,
exemplify authority and
Mhm.
power and all these different things, right? They
Mhm.
they acquire wives to show how big they acquire gold and silver they acquire horses. They do all these different things. The acquisition of all these things exemplifies power. And
Mhm.
God is saying, no, you're not going to exemplify power because I'm your power. You actually don't need to show all that because I'm going to do everything I need to do in order to support you and provide for you. Right. And so this isn't about not having multiple wives. This isn't about having more than 5 horses. This isn't about having all this gold and silver. It's about having. So I'm saying all that to say that can we have multiple wives?
Where does it say you can?
Can we or should we? That's two different questions. Can you? Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You can,
Okay.
if your culture allows it.
Okay.
Should you is a whole different question.
I don't want to. I don't want another wife.
Say it
Okay,
louder for the
cool.
people in the back.
Yeah. So it's just interesting. So, and when I was talking about it, I was just like, I'm only looking at what the Bible says,
Did you enter
and it
room?
becomes no, Jules, no, Jules not. I'm making this point because Jules not here. So, and I
But
probably
she
should have
didn't like
taken
the
y'all's advice
recording,
and done it
so she's
after
where he
10
covers all
o'clock.
bases.
Probably should have done it after 10 o'clock once the fee's done. 'Cause I think this lives on forever. But one of the things I was saying is like, the importance of allowing the word to inform kind of how we process, as opposed to allowing us to inform
To read
what the
into it.
word says,
Yeah.
Okay,
right?
so I have a question when you're done.
It's a good point because what he says is when you go into the land, you'll make it as your own. When you do, you'll ask for a king because that's what the other people want. Now, he
Correct.
said, if you go to do that, which you probably shouldn't do and should resist doing, here's what you should allow to govern that idea.
Correct.
Yeah. So if you decide to go the king route, which they eventually did.
And I actually can't find a situation in the Bible, and maybe you guys can help me. So I'm not even saying this like where I believe like 100%. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I can't find a situation in the Bible where having multiple wives was a negative situation for them.
You don't think Jacob's situation was negative?
I don't know if Jacob's situation was
Or
negative.
Solomon, who had
Solomon
an
definitely.
tree,
Was that again?
But
gods.
Solomon was a king. He wasn't supposed to do that as a king, right?
Yeah, so that's
Yeah, but why would
thank
he
you.
be the only one capable of being led astray? Just because he's the only one that can be led astray? A regular man with multiple wives can't be led astray by one of his wives?
because of all the things that comes with it, right? Like God was very specific in what he thought a king should do and what he shouldn't do.
So
I'm saying I don't know anyone else, right? David didn't experience problems until he did
Abraham's
something with
family
somebody
still
that wasn't his
fighting.
wife. Was that?
Abraham's family still fighting from his multiple wives, right?
But he didn't have. But hold on. Abraham's
three.
problem wasn't from his multiple wives. Abraham's problem was from who? The person who wasn't his wife.
No, she was a wife.
Hagar was not his wife.
She became a wife, became a concubine. That's a wife.
I don't know if she became a concubine. That was Sarah's person, Sarah's handmaid. I'm saying I'm not sure when the action itself happened. That was not a wife.
Once he does that,
He gave her
has to
over
take
to
her-
be that. That's what I thought.
he has to now absorb her in once he takes that action. So
I
maybe she's
don't
not
don't
a former wife,
disagree.
at least a concubine. At the
Don't
very least, she's a concubine.
don't disagree. I'm saying, was that person a wife
Fair enough. Fair enough. And Keturah came
at
after
the time of the
after the
action?
next one. Then yes, you. At least in that regard, you know.
I'm just saying I don't know of a situation where someone who wasn't a wife, Abigail, never heard anything. Like I'm just saying, like what was. I'm not sure I saw anything. Now,
So to be fair, David had he was a king, so I guess he's going to be a bad example because but some of his internal family conflict was because of the multiple wives and then the competition between the wives to elevate the children. Right? Absalom's mother wanted to planted seeds in him to elevate himself. That had to do with the mother, and Bathsheba was like, yeah, my child, you owe me.
yeah, but Bathsheba, we're not talking about that because that wasn't his wife. I mean, it was his wife, but it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
But is
I'm just saying.
multiple wives God's original design?
Was that again?
A multiple wives God's original design?
Was
that-
close.
So
Okay.
that's the. So I
reason.
agree. I don't disagree with that because that's what the person said, and I then said vegetables also weren't part of the original design either.
No, vegetables were meat wasn't.
Vegetables were not part of the original
No.
design. What was vegetables meant? There were no vegetables. There were herbs. There were fruits. There were nuts. There were grain. There was no vegetables.
There was vegetables.
Where were there vegetables?
So right here,
The herbs.
here it is. Give me a second.
Herb is not vegetables.
I can't believe
I'm
this
not
is
All right,
going on
verse
here.
29, chapter 1, chapter
I'm not
1,
saying
Genesis
herb.
chapter
No,
1,
no,
verse 29.
Right?
I'm not saying herb, Courtney. I'm not saying herb. I'm
Oh,
saying
that was
herb.
just earlier. My bad. That was earlier.
Oh, we went somewhere else.
I'm saying herbs.
Chapter 1, verse 29.
29. What we got?
And God said, I'm giving you every plant on the face of the whole earth that produces its own seeds. I'm giving you every tree that has fruit with seeds in it. All of them will be given to you for food. I'm giving you every green plant as food and for all the land animals and also for the birds of the sky. I'm also giving the plants to all the creatures that move on the ground and everything that breathes. So while it doesn't use the word vegetables, because that's a more modern English word, the intent is all the food that comes from plants, which is vegetables, is what he gave us for food.
So everything.
Everything.
Poison ivy, everything.
Meat was not a part of the original diet.
Agreed.
Well, there
I do agree
probably
with
weren't thorns back
But
then.
clothes were not a part of the original plan either. And clearly neither were
Agreed.
houses. Right? Or
Right.
cars.
Right.
That's my point. So having the conversation about what the original intent and plan was doesn't really hold a lot of water because there are a lot of things that we do.
So the only reason I say that is because why it matters in my brain, not the house, the cars, the whatever, is that the marriage was meant to be an image of God. Does multiple wives still do that?
I don't disagree with that. The original plan clearly was a man and a woman. I mean, I think there's a lot of other conversation about how the world got populated, but that's another conversation that we can have.
Oh, right.
I'm not sure.
Right.
I'm not sure all the anyway. So there's a whole other conversation as it relates to that. Yes, I don't disagree with you as it relates to that. But once you start instituting ways for they're when you go through Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, maybe less Numbers, but Deuteronomy, there are actually provisions made to have multiple wives. Right. And so I guess my thing is that if you're making provisions for this, is it you saying, you know what, I capitulate? You guys want this? I'll make an avenue for this? Or is it a sin and wrong?
And
Because
so
what I see
I-
is that it becomes very cultural when it
Right.
comes to these types of things, right? Culturally, it doesn't work in Western society for many different reasons, right?
Mhm.
In other societies, it may work. I'm trying to say, like, I'm not sure this is like a salvific issue outside of anything that God tells you to do or not to do,
depends.
specifically to you.
So I would say yes from the specifics of multiple wives or not. And I think the issue is the dynamics in the space. And I don't mean the space of the individual marriage or marriages, but the dynamics in the space of the people and their interactions that
Super
then
facts.
govern the structure. Right. And I say that from the
Correct.
standpoint of it wasn't just man and woman that are the image of one man, one woman that is the image
Right,
of God.
right,
It's humanity
We're
that's the
all
image of God, the collection.
right,
So
right,
so it's not just that,
right,
right?
right.
And um another thing that kind of lends to that is when Jesus prays in John 17, he says, "May they be one like we are one," and he was talking about a collection. So
Right,
if we have a unit that represents that oneness of spirit and that care for each other and that agape in a way, that is the overriding principle. And if you can make the structure work, I can see him making allowance for it. And I say that, Henry, because there are a whole lot of things in those chapters he's like, don't do that at all. But then
Correct.
he's like, or if you're
Correct.
gonna do it, you're gonna do this, do it like that, right?
Correct.
So
And I think that's where I'm at with
this could have been one of those things that get on the X list. So it's on the how does call it, Jerry? Is it the blacklist and that whitelist something?
So you get
Yeah,
the whitelisted and it, so it will let that through, but if it's blacklisted, they're under no circumstances.
Is there
you
like
could
a
have blacklisted
mulatto?
it.
I'm a lot.
Is there a mulatto? There's not like there's no
Why
mulatto list.
am I not surprised Kendrick would come up with okay. Yeah.
There's not an NBA, a new NBA list because it's all mulatto right now.
Ooh, a red bone list, right? Okay. Let's yeah.
It wasn't on the explicit deny list.
Yeah.
And it was on the if you're gonna do it like this list.
Correct. And I guess that's my thing. So for me, Jewel, in our list, it ain't happening, right? Because not only even if I wanted to, like it violates her and the agreement and the respect. Like I think that's where I'm getting at, right? It's not that and the more I read this thing and you read all these stories, you realize that yes, there are some things that God is very explicit about. And then there's some things that is like, Kendrick, you can't do that. But if Jared does it, I'm like, it's not a big like I'm not checking for Jared on that. But for you, I'm checking for you because I explicitly told you not to do this.
Not just
And
I
you
told
see that a lot throughout the Bible.
It's not even it is that. It's not just that. It's the operating philosophy, structure, principle that's guiding your interactions that has more weight with him rather than the manifestation itself. Right? So it's not the thing itself, but it's the thing that's guiding that thing.
As guiding, yes. I agree with that. That makes sense.
Which will make it permissible over here, but impermissible over there. But not because that thing itself is bad, but the principle that's guiding this is what's flawed.
Correct.
Or will lead to these bad outcomes and I would even say that like it's the agape principle. It's going to be difficult in a Western culture to do that agape in a space like that. That hard to do.
Okay. What's the purpose of marriage? Like, why? Why does it exist? Why do we do it?
It's a good question because it's not going to exist in the earth made new. So it's an earth phenomenon. So that's a good question.
Then married to 10, 20, 30 people doesn't really
I guess the the first thing that was told to them was to do what?
Multiply.
Like it was
just that.
It wasn't any more than be fruitful.
Oh, okay. So then
And
why do we
multiply.
bother with marriage?
So
Well,
marriage.
what do you understand marriage to be? I guess.
Correct.
What-
Yeah, that's the other thing.
No, that's what I was asking you guys because
I don't know that there's one universal thing.
I'm going from like we're talking about the garden and how the two people weren't necessarily the image of God. It's all people, right? So then the idea of marriage that people tie to Adam and Eve, like where does that come from? Like where
That's
did this whole
cultural
marriage
thing that we work. It's a cultural dynamic that came out of social construction that we read backwards into the thing. And I say that because if you do a study on marriage throughout cultures, it's not a uniform.
Right.
It's not uniform for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
marriage
it's uniform in a couple ways though, right? So it seems like it's uniform in that there's a pledge to be together, right? To take care of,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think there's some things that are kind of uniform that are within whatever marriage is, right?
Right.
And then it can look different, in other different ways. But I think there's some basic things.
But then
Would y'all agree?
There are people who cohabitate and agree to those same rules.
Yeah.
Well,
does that count as marriage?
There's a different conversation because a marriage in the United States, like I can't be married unless I get a certificate from the state.
Yes.
Right.
That's social.
So now I've introduced government into this holy matrimony. So now it's a church and state conversation that we're having. So I'm not acknowledged to be married unless I get some type of license from some type of government official that says I'm married. So but that's not biblical. That's not biblical marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I'm living in sin if I don't have that certificate.
Because of the culture.
Because of the culture. Correct. Not because of.
So marriage doesn't serve a purpose except for some cultural restriction.
No.
It's a social construct. It is a social construct that advantages human beings, particularly the people involved in it. I think there are some dynamics of marriage that are illustrative and informative for our relationships with God. Absolutely. I think because he uses that illustration to reveal stuff to us, almost in the same way you have parents and children. As almost like saying, why do you have children? What's the purpose of children?
That's why many don't have them.
and he even uses in marriage the idea and the concept of adultery, of working outside of marriage in order to illustrate, like he's done in Isaiah. There's all these different ideas and places where he said, you've actually strayed away from me, right, within this marriage covenant. So all of that exists. So I'm not saying marriage doesn't exist. Right? What I'm saying is that I question, based upon what I read, whether or not marriage has to be between. If marriage is between more than one person, whether or not it's right or wrong. That's where I can't find it.
Cliff.
And that's where I'm at.
Is it right or wrong or best practice?
I think.
Was that again?
Right or wrong or best practice? But Cliff.
I think the best practice comes to the culture. But sorry, go ahead, Cliff.
No, my thought is that marriage is a quest to make two halves whole again. That's it.
Marriage is a quest to make two halves whole again.
Yeah. God made Adam.
I struggle with that one.
He split Adam and made Eve. And the two shall become one. I think marriage is a quest to make those two. Yeah,
He took a rib, though.
with some DNA and a whole bunch of out of him and made two halves of one person.
Right. So in context of Kenrick's question, I guess that's why I'm going backwards, because then why not make one husband and two wives? Or
So Cliff, he multiplied. He didn't divide. He multiplied. In creating Eve, he multiplied. He took the one thing and made it two,
made it.
right? And then he took the two things and made them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it multiplies from there. And so he started with one and then took one out of it to say, no,
It's
you
not
are
good.
part of this. You're
One.
not your own thing. It's not a separate thing. You are one. And then this child that comes out of you is because of both of you, you are now one. And then all of you who come out of this, you are now one, just like we are one.
Right.
So I don't think it is two halves of a whole. The story shows he started with this and then said, all of you are this that I started with. All of you.
So
all children.
So I look at it like you said. I look at it the way you said. I think, and this is just me speculating, okay? So I look at it in the beginning as it multiplying, as it being multiplication. But when sin got introduced into it, started to divide.
Sin got introduced before.
What do you walk me through that
there
part?
was multiplication. Like because before there was a child, there was sin. The first child was born.
I think that's where it's
the first child was born
in sin.
We were divided before the child.
Right, but it was still his original design for us to multiply.
We started off with the multiplication, right?
Right.
Because he took one and
when
made
Adam
two.
was taken and made one became two. Yeah.
Right. And then sin got introduced into that mix. And I think from there on, it started to divide instead of multiply. Instead of everybody becoming part of one, I think everybody became parts of one.
Okay, I can see that.
And again, this is just
yeah. I guess where I land with all of this is that I look at so many things, especially over the years that we've kind of gone through the word and read this. As I look at it, I see less and less things being rules and more things being best practices. And this falls into, based upon what I'm reading, a lot of best practices, right? And best practices are good, right? Corporations, organizations use them because that's, it solves a lot of problems, right? And I think that's the way God did it. Like, don't eat this. Now, am I gonna hit you for eating this? No, I'm probably not gonna get you for eating that. But in order to live the best life, right, and have the best opportunity, like, you probably shouldn't do that, right? I just see a lot of these things as best practices, and less and less things as the rule and the norm, right, of what he was like, And I think he started making it very clear when it came down to, as I read it, right? People may differ. Love your God and love your neighbor as yourself.
But I think that's where there's some dichotomy for me, because I don't see how you could demonstrate, because love is less something you declare and more something you demonstrate. And I don't know how you could demonstrate that love to God without deference to the things that he says.
What do you mean?
Well, so is anything theoretically wrong with touching an ark? No, but he gave a specific man a specific instruction not to touch the ark. And when he touched the ark, he died. Because the guy, it wasn't about whether the thing was right, wrong, or best practice. It was about, if I say something to you, do you give deference and demonstrate your love to me? So
100%. But was that for everyone?
To me, it isn't about, is this a 10 commandment? Is it a decalogue? Is it a best practice? Is it once God says it, I am to demonstrate my love by being like, you know what, he said it, I'm good.
So
I
But my
don't
point,
need,
my, but my,
I don't
but my
need all
point,
the, you know,
but my
whether or
point,
not you're
Jerry,
gonna
is
come
that
get me for it.
are there people that were allowed to touch the ark?
What in that instance, nobody was allowed to touch the ark.
No, in
that's
general,
not
was
true.
there
Because somebody had to
In that
clean it.
instance,
Somebody
hold
had
on.
to clean it.
were there people
Hold
that were
on.
allowed to touch the
He's-
ark?
Again, in the
Mhm.
context, he's saying the ark is gonna move from here to here. The what did you call them? The Levites had the rods that the ark was hanging on,
Yeah,
and they
but
could
even
lift it
beyond
and
that,
hold it.
Jerry, at
No,
the
no, no.
time, at the Day of Atonement, somebody had to clean the blood off.
I am
Right.
not disputing that. I am saying in the context of the story, he says the ark is moving from here to here. Nobody
Agreed.
can touch it outside of these Levites or whoever they would have carried on their shoulders with the rods. That's all I'm saying.
But that's
To
my
me,
point,
we
Jerry.
could get
Though.
into a splitting of hairs, worrying about, because you see it in the church and in Christendom on a whole, where it's like, well, is this or is this or is this? And it's like, if God says to you, do. If He says to you, don't do. And here's the thing. We are very good at selectively hearing. So we have an idea of who God is in our head that sounds an awful lot like us. And so if I'm okay with something, I tend to lean on, well, God ain't gonna come get me for this. So and if I'm not okay with something else, then I'm like, no, that is definitely something God is gonna.
I think what
Go ahead.
Kenneth was getting at is because he wasn't here before, but I feel like where he was going was those things in the Bible that we are saying God says, but He didn't say to you and He didn't say to me, and He said to them, right? And I think a lot of times we have to now make sense of who is speaking to whom and about what, because this is not written as a thing to me. It was written as in various places, in various things, writings. You know, for example, when Paul writes to the Corinthians, God is not saying to me. Paul is saying to them in a private personal letter that I get to read and now have to figure out the application to me.
Correct.
And I think that's kind of where Kenrick is coming from. Marriage is not one of those things where God said to everybody.
But even in
that's
the
why-
example that Jerry gave, that was a specific situation. It didn't. That wasn't. There's nowhere where no one absolutely could not touch the ark. In that particular situation, that was the case, and I guess that's my point. Like,
right, but
God's word to me, and I was literally having this conversation with some kids earlier today. Like, God, for Him to tell you to do something, and you to do something else, that's sin for you. That may not be sin for me because He didn't tell me not to do that particular thing.
Right.
And I think that's where we get kind of confused, where we create these blankets where if God tells me not to do it, y'all can't do it. No, that's not necessarily what He said.
Okay, so that's why I was asking. The creation story is meant for who? Only to Adam and Eve? Like it has nothing to do with us? Who are there?
The creation story, what do you mean?
Meaning, like, we're talking about context and who was there and who was being talked to, right? And He's created the sky, the trees, the water, the blah, blah, blah. It was good. Evening and morning, first day, second day, third day, blah, blah, blah. Then He made Adam, and He said, He didn't say it was good. He said, it is not good for man to be alone. So He made a wife, or a woman. Not call her a wife. He made her a woman. One woman. Then He said, it's good. Right? So for me, Lorraine, my understanding is the good is one man, one wife, right? Doesn't make it. I can't speak for other cultures. I'm saying my understanding is one wife, one husband, right? The ideal plan and situation is one wife. So to have my brain is like, why would I want, if I was a guy, why would I want multiple wives? Like, what would be the purpose? Like, for me, it's like I want to be as close to what God originally designed.
I hear you.
So let's go with this.
Uh-huh.
Why did Moses mandate that if a man died, his brother should marry his wife?
I don't know.
And that's an important question. Because that man may have wanted his one man, one wife, but he now has an obligation to cover that other woman.
Right. That's cultural. Right.
Right. And that's
Right.
my point.
Right.
Right.
That's why I said I
Because
can't speak
the
to that.
purpose of
Right.
the marriage isn't
Right.
just one man, one woman.
Right.
Otherwise, this man, if he decides not to do it, is going to be held liable.
Correct.
Right?
Right. Right.
And he's not just going to be held liable for his culture, he's going to be held liable by God because he refused to provide covering to this woman.
Correct.
Because of what would happen to her in the society. Right? And so this taking on of a second wife is actually in line with God's will. Right?
Right. Protect her, the woman.
Correct.
Right?
So
Correct.
then you have to ask, what's the purpose of marriage?
Right.
Marriage now has this structure within society to provide more than just this binary thing.
Right. So then, is that why people are getting married to multiple wives?
No, people are greedy. People are greedy.
People do it for different reasons, right?
What kind of reason?
Right. So then it depends. It would depend on the context whether or not it is.
That's the point we are making.
From God.
Agreed.
That's the point we are making.
And it should, and it's not just marriage and adultery and all that kind of stuff. It's the bearing of false witness, right? We saw the midwives and like it's all the things that we take and we're just like, you can't do this, where we saw people that did this and were rewarded. The midwives lied and said, no, they just keep having babies. It was too fast, right? That wasn't necessarily true, right? But they told it and then they were blessed because of it, right? Rahab, no, they're not here. They went over here, right? And it was blessed because, like, all these different things. So there's these ideas that we have, right? That have to be like really parsed as to like what the Bible is actually saying in these particular situations. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you should go out and get another wife. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should marry 3-4 different people. I'm not saying you should have 3-4 different husbands. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is that there's certain things that we read into text based upon culture and ideas that we have that's not necessarily explicitly said in the word.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think it goes both. I think it goes both ways. We read it to allow us to do things, and we read it to restrict.
100%. I 100% agree with that.
I think it goes back to when we read, we don't read to understand what the principle is. So that there's a biblical principle. I'll see if I get I know I have it in my notes somewhere, where there's a biblical principle that based on the hierarchy of a situation, God doesn't want you to be a false witness. But to your point, midwives might have lied, or, during World War II, you have multiple cases of Germans come to the ones like, you hiding any Jews? No, not hiding any Jews.
Correct.
There's a principle for how those things could be evaluated and executed. And so when we read, we shouldn't just be reading or studying. Let me say study. Reading is reading. When we study, we should be studying with a view to find what is the principle and how do I then use that principle and apply it to my life. As opposed to, like Lauren said, where sometimes we try to read things in or read things out because we're not really looking to apply a principle. We're just trying to be like, let me get covering for what I want.
Let me get covering for what I want to do. 100%. Agreed.
I will go a step further and say that we stop at the surface of the action, and God is looking a little bit deeper. Because, and the real reason I say that is, the thing that helped me visualize that is the sin that plunged the world into darkness is eating fruit. There's nothing wrong with that activity.
Correct.
Which means that the issue is not eating fruit. The issue is something else that this
Right.
action of eating fruit represents.
Correct.
The man of God from Judah solidifies that. Ain't nothing with going the way you came, and ain't nothing wrong with stopping to have dinner. Right?
But
So,
you did, but you
so that
stopped.
action becomes wrong when something else is at play. And so now we have to dig deeper. Is it we shouldn't bear false witness, or is it that we shouldn't be deceitful in a way that harms other people?
Correct.
Right?
Which is what the language says.
Right. Right. Right.
Right?
False,
then-
bear false witness against.
So then back to my question when I asked about marriage, and it was said that it's tied to like a social construct. How does fornication come in play if it was just multiply? Like where's the guideline?
Fornication is having sex with someone who is not your wife.
Yeah, so there's a
Where's the
lack
wife
of responsibility. So with fornication, there's no responsibility, there's no accountability, there's no binding. It's self-gratification. And that's at the root of why fornication is problematic.
I had
Does the
a
public-
mental put it like this:
from
fornication is really masturbating using somebody instead of.
So marriage. So the way the Bible, where I understand the Bible, you guys can correct me. Where I understand the Bible is that marriage is the public acknowledgement
Mhm.
and the pledge to take care of.
Correct.
Like
Okay, so I can
that's the formula of marriage.
Okay, so I can go online and publicly say, I am marrying this person and I pledge to stay with this person, and we're married. So if we sleep together, we're covered.
From a biblical perspective,
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm asking.
fulfills what marriage is. Now,
But people don't live onto themselves.
Oh, no. We're talking Bible. What is acceptable? What is not acceptable?
that's the only thing
Okay.
that I've seen, right? Is
Okay.
a public acknowledgement and a pledge to take care of.
Okay.
Anybody can. You guys are smarter than me. If there's anything that's different, let me know.
Here's a perfect example of that.
Mhm.
Bilhah and the other lady were counted among Jacob's wives.
Mhm.
He didn't have ceremonies for them. He had ceremonies for the other two.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like he had to
Okay.
go through a process for them. But these other ladies became his wives. Now he has to care for them.
Mhm.
Correct.
Now they become his responsibility.
Mhm. Mhm.
But culture then, but there is an impact of culture, and that's why I don't want to
and social constructs. Yes.
From me to social constructs. So that if I do something, like I can say to Jewel, I pledge to take care of this other lady, and I'm going to publicly announce that. The reason why that doesn't necessarily work here is because of the destructive nature that it creates within this relationship.
Correct.
Right? And that's not of God.
So if she said
Right?
okay, it's fine.
No, it still wouldn't be fine.
I don't know.
Here's why it still wouldn't be fine, because we still exist in the community.
Correct.
And we aren't just people living in our own, doing our own thing.
In this silo.
So we kind of have to participate in the life of the community and the structures of the communities in order to have these legitimate dynamics.
Correct.
So in our culture,
unless
we have,
you're Hosea and you're told to do it.
So we have polygamous people. We have polyamorous relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's far outside of our culture. There are people who live their lives like that. So as long as they make a statement publicly, Facebook post, whatever, however, that they're committed to this person and this is who they're going to protect and who they're committed to, they're covered under is that like that, I'm trying to get clear.
I don't know if that's necessarily true.
I don't know. That's between them and God. I wouldn't be able to declare that.
But to Jerry's point, it really comes down to like the intentions and all the other things that go along with it, right?
Correct.
And so if it violates what God wants you to do, desires for you and whatnot,
right,
then,
obviously.
then it can't.
If God didn't tell you to do it, right? It's a sin for you, then yeah, I understand that part.
So
I'm just
yeah,
asking. Okay, so outside of
and
that,
I don't know other than that, right? And I guess that's where I kind of arrive, is like when I'm looking at these things and I'm reading it, I'm just like, this seems to be very cultural in nature, right? There are specific rules, right? It can't be someone outside who is not my wife, right?
Whatever that is
So
for your
that's
culture.
whatever that is.
Whatever that is for your
whatever
culture.
that is for your culture. But even from me, I take it from biblically, it was like it's the pledge, the public acknowledgement, and the pledge to take care of, at the very least, right?
Okay.
But I guess overall, it kind of goes back to what I say, is that there's so many things that we read into the bearing false witness of, and like all these different things. Like you can find examples where people lied.
Well, because based on how you said it,
did they bear false witness against this particular person?
Mhm.
They actually did not.
Right. Well, I guess
Right?
that's why I was asking. I'm asking the question because I was like, well, then am I reading in? Because my perspective has been one husband, one wife, and of course, obviously, like I said, culture is a different thing, right? If you're culturally there's a reason those things are in place in certain cultures, right? Because the view of
Correct.
women and what they're able to access, all this other stuff. Like I understand that.
Well, it was agriculture, right? It was like it was literally like we actually have to have multiple people in
Right.
order to
Right.
facilitate this
Right.
large
Right.
piece of land. Like there are all these different things that contributed to why people did certain things.
So I guess that's why I was like, for in my brain, if it's one husband, one wife, why would one? I guess I'm looking at original design, what he considered good when he created us, right? And once again, I could be reading into, like I said, y'all are saying like maybe
I think that's fair. No, I think that's fair.
I could be reading into it because that's always been my perspective, and in my logic, I can't. For me, like my goal is to be as close to what God designed and how He. I know we can't. Obviously, we're not perfect. That we're far from where we started from, but I can't see why because it's a no-go for me. Absolutely not, never, ever. If it does, there's something wrong with me. Y'all need to get me checked out. But I'm just saying, like, I can't see why, outside of the cultural constraints and the effects on the female, I can't understand why one would want to go that direction. Like almost like I don't understand. I guess I don't understand it. I'm not saying it's something wrong with it. I just can't.
And that's fair given the culture and the time we live in the world. Two things. One of the reasons you may have that idea is because Paul advocates for that very clearly in the scripture, in more than one place. He says, he advocates for it. He doesn't say it's necessary from God, but he makes that strong case for it. He even says an elder should only have one wife, and that's one of the things where it comes. Because he was trying to instruct the church in a certain kind of way, and against the cultural norms of the space that he was in.
But he also said he preferred that you don't.
Yeah, and then he even advocated so much more that you stay single, right?
Correct.
Only get married if you're going to burn. Get married if you can't control yourself.
Right. Can't control
right? So, what's the purpose of marriage? Keep you from burning in hell, right? Keep you from fornicating, get married, right? Like,
correct.
So, but your logic, you probably want to reflect on it because it's selective. When you talk about that original design and you go back to the garden, you also have as original design no house, no physical structures.
Right.
So,
but as
go and live go outside and live.
And he said you're gonna have to work the land. He told you after sin happened.
That was after sin. We're talking about pre-sin.
No, but we had to start getting covered with clothes. right? There's a lot of things we didn't need before in his original design.
No,
The other stuff
we
came as a
probably didn't
result
need. We probably didn't need the clothes. We made the
until we.
clothes. We didn't need it. We didn't need it.
Mhm,
We
mhm.
opted for it because we felt shame,
Right,
right? But we
right,
didn't
And we
need it.
did that.
right,
He didn't give it to us.
right, right.
And when you're
But
born
as a
today,
result of sin, as a result, remember, we were supposed to be fruitful and multiply.
right?
As a result of the sin, our childbearing was going to be torture. So before, I imagine it wouldn't have been torture. So now it's torture.
Perhaps.
I imagine the sun wouldn't have been burning off your skin, but now you need shelter. Now you need covering. Now we get intellectual and whatever, and we build houses, we build buildings, we build
Absolutely.
all these
My
other
point is, when you lean into the logic this way, it has to be able to apply to everything, right? That logic cannot be selective, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And
I
right
agree.
now, it's selective to the marriage part and not to the other things.
What other
Right?
thing am I not?
Because what we're not doing is appealing to having a nudist colony in living. We're not making that appeal.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying God's original intent is that we were naked. Let's all be naked and live according to God's original intent. We're not doing that.
Which is fine. I mean, that's fine.
Right? Right? Nobody's doing that right now. What we're saying is God intended marriage.
Somebody's doing
God
it.
intended
Somebody-
vegetarianism, but
Uh-huh.
but we're not doing it for the nakedness, which means we're being selective.
Some people doing it, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
And so
Because we're
and
not
so
the
what-
same.
what we
We're
would-
not.
so
Well, I
so we
guess
should
that's what I'm
appeal.
saying.
We should
So
appeal
it's
to
not
something else. Is what I'm saying.
It's not about, and I guess for me, it's not about the selectiveness of it, right? The situation is not the same, right?
What do you mean?
When he first created us, that was a whole different scenario. Now,
Exactly. So why does that count? Why does it count for these things and not the marriage thing? Why does it count for these things and not the marriage thing?
If a female walks around now with her cleavage even low, there's a problem. So we can't go naked.
Where?
Men can't go
Maybe.
naked, females can't go naked. You know what I'm saying? Like that's we already see this.
So I would push back on that. I would push back
I
on
would
that,
100.
Lorraine,
I would 100%
because you have cultures in the world that still exist today
Right, that do. Yes.
that do.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes,
it's now it's not about God's original design as much as it's my comfort level
But
in
it's a
culture which I
norm, so
exist.
they don't see you. They don't see their women.
But it's cultural.
But it's cultural.
That's my thing. Like even the example you use. Like I'm in Spain. We go to a beach. Women walk around with topless all the time. You don't see the reactions that you would see if you were in the States. It's not the same.
Right.
So I'm saying,
Right.
so it's cultural, right? In how you view it.
But and that's all because of that, and because of the selective application, it'll be a stronger argument to appeal to something that's more universal in terms of the logic.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Because that logic only applies to marriage. There's so many other things that are true about God's original design in the scriptures that we're not making that appeal and logic for. And we're skipping over and saying, oh, no, that don't work for us, and that don't count on that. But this, no, we have to appeal to that. Here's another example. We like to talk about it was God's original design or God gave that law, whatever. But he also gave a very strict law that when you have a period, all them women need to go and live out there for 7 days. You can imagine having to do that because the Bible says so. But we're not making that appeal. We make that appeal for selective things in the scripture. And then the other things we're like, no, not this one. That one don't count because, and this one don't count because, but this one does. And a lot of those, this one counts because it's now because
just because we're selective doesn't make it wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like just because
I didn't hear that last part, Lorraine. You said selective because
just
what?
Because we're picking and choosing things doesn't mean the thing we pick is the wrong idea. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's my thing.
Like
I'm not
saying I get what you're saying about like the nakedness. We're not appealing for that. I'm saying when I say original design, yeah, you make a fair point. They were naked. We're not fighting for that now. But the marriage part that I mentioned doesn't make the idea wrong It's just, yeah, maybe I am focused on that and not on the nakedness because
Well,
I
that's the
see
thing.
the culture, our culture, and how they respond to certain things. So I wouldn't
I'm
walk
not
outside naked.
I'm not
I'm
saying
not doing it.
I'm not
Right,
making a right or wrong appeal.
right,
Like I'm
Correct.
not having a conversation about right and wrong,
hmm
right? I'm having a conversation, and what I was reading was like, how am I interpreting this information?
Correct.
right,
What is the
mhm,
information offering to me? And what
right,
am I reading into it? And what am I actually supposed to be getting from it? Right?
right,
I
and
think
that's why
that's where I am. And that's why
right,
culture then becomes a situation. Like we read it all through. Like it's literally the conversation somebody put on Facebook was talking about speaking in tongues, right?
mhm,
And depending on where you grew up and all this kind of stuff, you're gonna read a certain thing differently based upon the religion
right,
you're in, where you
right,
grew up, all these different things, right? Now the Bible is very explicit in what's going on. Paul gives his opinion about
mhm,
it,
mhm,
yet people still have their own ideas and they make
right,
structure around it,
right,
right?
right,
And so my thing is like, so you can read into it, and that's not a right or wrong. If you choose to do
right,
this,
right,
do
right.
that. That's fine.
That's why I
But
was
like,
asking about marriage because I was
what is the
like,
word? What does the
under-
word say? What does it demonstrate?
mhm,
And what does it show us?
mhm,
Right? And
mhm,
what I've seen is that in my particular situation with
mhm,
me and my wife,
mhm.
I'm not going to have another wife,
Okay,
right?
gotcha. Mhm.
But I'm also not
Oh wait,
going
That's because you
to,
don't have a brother.
yeah. I mean,
but then why
Because
can't it be
if
multiple
you had a
husbands?
brother and if you had a brother and your brother died, according to the Bible, you are now obligated to marry his
if I
wife.
had a black Israelite brother,
No, if you had a brother, according to the Bible, if you have a brother and he dies,
but but I had to be an
you have to
Israelite
marry
in
his
order to
wife.
do that.
Huh?
Yes. Yeah, if I was an Israelite, yes,
No, if you
100%.
believe in the Bible and all the Bible says, that instruction is to you.
He never gave me that instruction. I
So
was
you see the selective
that
thing we're
was
talking about,
that
Lauren?
was
You see
that
what we're
was
talking
that was
about?
just that was just
That is
Israelites.
the selective we're talking about.
I mean,
Because
and
it's
then that
in
means,
there. It's
but
in there
look,
as a command from God. It's not
look,
a command from God. It's not just a Moses thing.
look,
God is the one
look.
saying
But
it.
why is it got to be only the wives? Like, can't wives have
I just
multiple
telling you what
husbands?
God
So,
that's a
so
question
that's
you
what
gotta
they
ask God when you see
culture
him.
like that's the
Like,
Tell you a
thing.
question you
Culture
ask God
plays
when you
a
see him.
role. All this culture plays a role in it. Like it was just the
Exactly.
way it was. I mean, that's that's my point.
look, I vote for a 2026 upgrade.
You said you,
An
And
amendment.
that's how you get to know, what is really driving your thought. When you start to try and apply these to these other
Right,
things, you start to realize, okay, this is really just something that is important to me, and that's not a bad thing. But I am now
right.
correct.
applying this principle because it makes sense to me, and I'm rejecting that because that don't make sense to me.
Well,
Right?
my original understanding of marriage was that Adam and Eve were the first marriage, but now I'm like, well, I mean, not the way we
So
do it now. We don't need all this extra stuff. Like, he just needs to tell me he promised to stay with me, and I promised to stay with him. We found a thing.
So I'm gonna play Paul in this situation. My mom is texting me offline, and I know this is a personal text. This is a personal text, but because Paul made all his personal texts public for the rest of the world to see, I'm gonna
His
add
letters.
first. I'm gonna add first mom
Oh my
chapter
god.
1, and she's only done verses. There's only like a verse, maybe 1 through 3. I don't know how we're gonna do it. So, in the Old Testament, when you were betrothed and the father accepted the property for his daughter, the marriage was final at that point. The father of the betrothed and the bride accepted the assets of the groom, and the groom accepts the liabilities of the bride. The groom now carries the burdens of
The
the
Father.
the bride's Christ, as Christ carries our sins. Once the contract is made, it is as if they are now married. Sorry, I got my thing. Now married. The consummation will happen later, as when Jesus comes for us at the second coming. That was her comment.
Yeah.
She
That
was commenting
consummation
like
is a
last
big thing
time,
too,
and
though.
I missed all of them. So
That consummation is a big thing too, because once you consummate, you can't back up. But if you don't, you might be able to have an out if you don't consummate.
correct. That's why Leah was having sex with two Jacobs.
And even that whole father exchange with the thing, all that is cultural, and all of that is economic and sociological construct to support the community, the family, the whatever, to ensure that in that culture where women don't have these same kind of rights and things, they continue to be covered. It's why there's an appeal to the society to care for widows and orphans.
Correct.
They don't have
Correct.
men to cover them, right?
100%.
And so if you don't have as much men to cover, you bring in multiple wives. This man now covers all these people. Otherwise, all these women stay without covering. And I'm just saying that from a societal standpoint. So marriage has another type of function so the function of marriage is really a reflection of what's happening in the society.
Correct. So sorry, it's 10:41.
Yeah, underpinning that are the ideals of faithfulness, fidelity, responsibility, mutuality, respect. All of those things have to govern and be there. Otherwise, that marriage becomes problematic, whatever its construct.
And to your point, within the community.
Yes, within the community.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, and that's why I was like, whether me and Jewel agree on it is one thing, right? How does it affect our community that we're in, right? Because that's also another level of the responsibility that we have, which God calls us to have.
Correct.
Right. And so if there's a culture where the whole community accepts it, then that's a different conversation, right? In a situation like, in Western society as we know it, as I know it, then there's a problem potentially. And I'm not sure that God necessarily wants that to happen.
No, we went a little long tonight, but it was good conversation. Jerry, you went quiet, so I'm gonna let you have the first takeaway.
Jerry's like, I'm never showing up with these.
Jerry's like, this is my last Waterbury Thursday.
No. Oh no. Man, there's so much stuff that could be takeaways, but I'm just gonna go with an idea I introduced about redemptive disruption.
That's where
and being mindful of how there may be, in the context of even this marriage conversation, there may be things that God is doing to wake me up as to, am I doing this because am I reading something in or reading something out?
Right.
And I'm thankful that He will exercise redemptive disruption to steer me back on track. Yeah.
Hold on a second. Yeah. Oh, there's a second one. Sorry. I did. Sorry there, Cliff. I didn't see you had a second one down the bottom.
And he's gone again.
I didn't realize you had two. I couldn't see that one. Why does that keep going off?
Akbar.
All right.
There we go.
I don't know what's going on, but we're here now. We're here now. All right. Courtney, you also not chiming in on this marriage conversation likely because your wife was watching. So
that's right. Stay away from
Courtney ain't trying to get no black eye. What you talking about?
So it's hot in here. Now, again, there were a lot of different things we talked about tonight. I think, you pointed out something about Jesus talks about the like heaven is like this, or like you said, the kingdom of heaven is like this. And I guess I thought that was interesting where you pointed out would normally say that, and then what would follow would be something that wouldn't sound like what that we would ideally think it is. So I think I would just want to pay attention to that more now when I see that again in other readings going forward. Um,
Mhm.
I like. I mean, obviously, I know about the Marvel stuff, so I thought that was interesting. Like the same being said about Asgard. It's like it's the people, and I was like, oh, okay, okay. So again, that I know that wasn't just written like that for no reason, you know. So that was interesting for me. That's something that I'm going to look forward again. It's kind of maybe change my perspective on that.
Word, word. How about you, Cliff?
Dang.
All right, Lauren.
Okay.
Um,
Gotta get this thing
there's
together,
a
man.
reason. There's a reason God put me in the timeline He put me in, and in the society He put me in.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
you would not have made a number 3.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I'm not wired for that. But I did like the restorative, redemptive destruction.
Mm.
Um, and I need to reevaluate marriage. That's another, because I'm big on, like, I've always told myself that marriage is important to me. Which it is. It's just I thought it had to look a certain way, but y'all got me asking questions. So I'm like, okay, well, if we're doing stuff that's not necessary, um, yeah, I got questions. I got
It's
questions.
good. It's good to explore. I would
Yeah,
say community matters, social norms matter, and they are part of the calculus.
yeah. Because see, norms shift
Can
and
you guys hear me?
change. Like,
Correct. Yes, we can hear you.
yeah, norms shift and
Okay.
change, and things that weren't normal years before are completely accepted. So we're living in a very interesting time. But I
Agreed.
don't know if I can use this time as my guide. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think
No,
I
not
can
the
use
time.
the
Not the time
society
as
and the
much.
norms of now as my guide to, like, yeah, yeah. I
So
just have to reevaluate and look at something.
I'm only going to give this example to orient you to what I'm saying about norms and society. Um, in the America where you live,
Hmm.
your marriage has to be sanctioned by the state, all
Right,
right, for it to be legitimate. That's because that's where you live.
right, right.
And so those kinds of community social norms and constructs have to be factored in where you live. Here's another thing. Um, Christians have a different set of rules as compared to people who subscribe to Islam, depending on where you live as well. Like
Hmm.
Islam allows for certain kinds of things, and the city, the culture, the society, the state accept those
Hmm.
provisions in some
Hmm.
places. Like
Hmm.
I know in Trinidad, at least, Christian societies could only have one wife. But I know
Hmm.
Muslims who live in Trinidad who get married and have multiple wives. You
Right,
know,
right,
and
right,
so that's true as well. So that's why I'm saying those kinds of constructs inform what is right and wrong, and it's all about your belief system, the thing that you subscribe to. So I will go with this verse: "To him who know to do right and does it not, this is
To
sin."
him, it's a thing.
So now
Right,
it has to be about you and God and what
right,
your
right,
understanding of what He requires of you. That's what I'm saying by the society and the
right.
construct, because I'm sure that that social aspect will inform what you believe right to be.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Just as you are processing and asking those questions, keep that in mind.
Hmm. Hmm.
Cliff, you're up next. We're ready.
Okay, can you guys hear me? I'm dealing with this crazy internet. It's driving
Yes,
me.
we can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you.
All right, my takeaway. This was inspired. This was what's inspired earlier. But my takeaway is God not trying to kill you, but He will use redemptive disruption to get our attention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, good.
Thanks, Jerry. I appreciate that. Thank you for that one, man.
How about you, Kenrick?
I need to have a conversation with Joel.
You didn't have what?
Have a conversation with Joel. No, that's not my takeaway.
Lord. Oh my gosh.
That's not my takeaway. My takeaway is was the kingdom of heaven. And how everyone, I never thought about it from, I always thought of the kingdom of heaven as this utopia, right? The perfect place, as opposed to the place where everybody exists, whether they are adhering to the rules of the kingdom or not. And so that's my takeaway, is that kind of changed my perspective. So I appreciate that.
Add one little thing in there. The reason why Matthew and all of them talk a lot about it is because one of the things that Jesus does is he comes and he then establishes the I have won the victory over all the challengers. I am now king, and eventually I will bring everything. It's almost like when the president wins the election and then he has to be coronated.
Correct.
That's it. It becomes I am now validated, verified as the king.
Correct.
Get your house in order, because at some point
Daddy's home.
House. Yeah, daddy's home now.
Daddy's home. Sorry, that's not.
And so God is trying. Jesus was in describing the kingdom of heaven and saying, "Hey, this is the kingdom that's coming. It's the rule, the reign of God that's going to be manifest once I make this victory that you're now going to have to adjust to." So culture shift.
No, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that clarification.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway.
Yeah, my takeaway has to do with the fact that even the violence is, I won't say redemptive disruption. I don't want to go there, but the violence it's meant to be a deterrent. It's meant to signify the message how problematic this is. And so it only comes after much restraint. It's unleashed after much restraint, and so it frames the whole thing a little bit differently for me. So that's why that's my takeaway. At least one of them. I had several others, but in the interest of time, I'll just get that one for now. All right. Anybody want to volunteer to close us out with prayer? Can't call on Jerry because I already made him go first. So.
I'll pray.
All right.
All right. Let's bow our heads. Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to come before you. We thank you for the opportunity to chop it up, to challenge thought, to ask questions, to be curious. We thank you for the latitude you give us as we continue to grow and seek you. We ask for clarity in the topics that we've talked about. Help each of us to continue to seek you, and everyone that's represented here, viewing now and viewing later. Please keep us all safe. Forgive us for our sins, cleanse us. And we ask all these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. We are here every first and third Friday. Next time we're here is on the 17th, I think. Did I get that right?
17th, yeah.
Yeah. And then again on May 1st. So the 1st of May is going to be our first Friday. So, you know,
Oh, first Friday.
yeah, first Friday on the 1st. Yeah. So until such time as we gather again, please keep reading up, drinking up, and feel free if you'd like to join our conversations. You can join from wherever you are, the comfort of wherever you are. Just hit us info at waterforthetissy.com, Instagram, Facebook. And we could send you the link so that you could come on. We have space for up to about, what's that, 9 people? Yeah, about 9
Hey,
people.
Jared, send Jewel a link because I was trying to get her on tonight because she had some things that she read and she had a question about, but she didn't. Whatever, she was being whatever.
All right.
So
Send her the
maybe
link or tonight.
maybe her brother can send her a link and she'll join.
Tonight or tomorrow? Another time.
No, next time.
Oh, next time. Okay, yeah, for sure. We'll do that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So until next time, drink up and see you. We out.
Okay.